Camden LeBeau, back to return for the Miami Trace Panthers.
Thought special teams really played a big factor in last night's game. Let's take a look at early field position here.
Waverly will boot it from the 40. We are underway from Tiger Town, the first Friday night in the state of Ohio. That kick is fielded just inside the 10, and there's some blocks on the outside. Down the sideline, taken down near midfield. Hayden Cornell on the return sets the Panthers up in some amazing field position to start.
Yeah, the initial coverage not bad. Had a chance to get him down inside the 30. Great individual effort, got outside and gets to the plus side of the 50, and great start for Miami Trace.
So the Miami Trace offense opens up the season in enemy territory. If you're just tuning in, we thank you for bearing with us through some early technical issues. But we are officially underway the first Friday night here in the state of Ohio. Miami Trace starts at the Waverly 48. Sophomore quarterback Barron Phipps will take the snap. Phipps hands it off. And that is LeBeau with the carry, gets a few yards. Good first carry. That is Baker on the carry. We'll go through the rest of the offensive starters for Miami Trace. Phipps taking the snaps with Baker next to him. Offensive line from left to right, Matthew Barner, Noah 30-acre, Cameron Morton, Dane Wilt, and the Clemson commit Adam Guthrie. The right tackle, Weston Doss and Cooper Enix, your tight ends. Jansen Smith, your near side receiver. Here's Barron. Phipps on the carry, gets past the 40 for a first down. Flag is down.
Yeah, first flag of the night. Like I said, quite a few of those throughout the first quarter last night, and then both teams settled down and played much cleaner football in the second quarter.
55 offense.
So holding against the Panthers, Matthew Barnard, the sophomore left tackle, committing the holding penalty. That'll send Miami Trace back into their own territory.
Yeah, big penalty there. I mean, you're to the plus side. You're almost a 4-down territory. You had a good first down run. Now, all of a sudden, second and long, get back behind the chains. And for a team that like to keep it on the ground, that's going to be a big thing for them. Try to stay ahead of those chains and stay in good running down and distance.
Dawson Enix motion to the right side for the Panthers. Second down and 14. They pitch it to Baker. Baker trying to get to the outside, taken down out of bounds. Hez Nelson came up to make the play, forcing Baker out of bounds. Hez Nelson, the junior cornerback for the Tigers, one of the few returning starters for Waverly. We saw him make a lot of plays on the defensive side of the ball last season.
That was some good individual running there, just some speed. Some unblocked Tigers into the backfield. Didn't quite take the angle on him on containment on the edge, and he was able to get back to third down.
Third down and 10 from the Waverly 48. Phipps takes a snap. He'll keep it himself. Trying to get outside. He's not going to get there. Taken down by a pair of Waverly Tigers. Garrett Rosenberger and Carter Carrier combined for the tackle. And Miami Trace will send out the punt team.
Good ball handling from Phipps there. Made a spin move, got back in. Good containment from the Waverly defense. And early on, going to play the game of field position here. Waverly certainly wants to be alive. If you're in that area where they might line up and see if they can draw you off.
Miami Trace often likes to line up like they're running a normal play and then boot it away. As we see there, Phipps backs up into punting position. Hez Nelson back to return for the Tigers. It's a line drive kick from Phipps. Fielded by Nelson at the 10. Nelson trying to make something happen, trying to get to the outside, breaks a few tackles before being taken down just before the 30-yard line. Jansen Smith and Noah Weissong on the tackle.
That's an outstanding play on the punt return. You let that ball bounce, you could be stuck inside the 10. He plays it. 21-yard return, gets it back. We'll call it a 20-yard return back out to 29. So that's a good field position play from your special teams there on the Waverly side.
Now the Waverly offense takes the field for the first time. Junior quarterback Gunnar Myers, his first career start. Nelson motions over, they hand it off to Nelson on the jet sweep. Nelson trying to get to the outside, taken down for a gain of about 9.
Yeah, just get him going on the snap there, get him up to full speed, get out around the edge. Miami Trace got to do a better job of setting the edge. Once that speed gets out there, it's too late, gaining 9. Nice first down play.
2nd and 1 at the 38. Justin Kennison has Nelson in the backfield. Now Nelson motions over, they hand it off. Kennison up the middle, first down, Tigers.
Yeah, back-to-back, get a couple ball carries, let them touch it early, take that first tackle, and kind of get settled into the game, like what I see from the offensive line there on those first 2 run plays.
Waverly 6-6 last season, finished tied for 3rd in the SOC2. A Week 12 playoff loss to Indian Valley, the eventual Division IV state champions. 1st and 10 at the 41. Myers rolling out to his left. He's got a man on the sideline, incomplete. Trey Perry, the intended receiver, couldn't hit him in bounds.
Yeah, rolling out there, pretty well covered. Not necessarily throwing it away, but certainly throwing it out where only his guy could get it and live to play another down. Nice job by the Miami Trace secondary.
8:25 left in the first quarter. 2nd and 10 at the 41. Myers takes a snap, looking downfield. Pass is deflected and picked off. Hayden Brown, tip drill, interception, big turnover early on for the Panthers.
Yeah, ball just comes out a little wide and high. Like you said, the tip there. Brown in the right spot, right time. We had our first turnover of the game, and Miami Trace once again with pretty good field position. Let's see if they can cash in a little bit better here.
Sometimes those turnovers, especially early on, can go a long way. And maybe some confidence now for Miami Trace.
Certainly momentum, you're right. I mean, especially coming in on the road and you want to settle in and get that first stop. When you can do it with the turnover, certainly gives your defensive unit a lot of confidence.
Barron Phipps back out there taking the snap. 1st and 10 at the 48. They hand it off to Baker. Baker trying to get his way outside, makes a man miss before going down in plus territory, 1st down.
Yeah, Baker just shows you his whole arsenal there. A little bit of power up in front and then a little agility to juke to the outside and then turn it on. Really, really good kick-out block there out of the motion.
Call it an 11-yard gain for Julian Baker. 1st and 10 at the 41. Noah Weissong all by himself out on the far side for Miami Trace. They hand it off, it's Baker again. Baker got tripped up before he could get any further. As Sebastian Smith making the play.
Yeah, Enos comes in with a nice block there, and Baker just barely loses his footing, or that had some potential off the right side there.
Julian Baker, we talked about him in our short pregame. A man with 10 Division I offers coming into the season. One of the top players in the class of 2027. Here's Phipps on 2nd and 8, pitches it to Enix. Enix gets to the outside before being taken down. Another 1st down inside the 30. Speed option and the pitch to Enix for a first down.
Yeah, probably around 12, 13-yard game. I mentioned there, really impressed with Phipps' ball handling. Shows it inside well, pulls it back that time with the accurate pitch to the outside. In that true option game, that's an absolute must, the ball handling of your quarterback, and Phipps doing a nice job here early on.
Call it a gain of 12 on the run from Cooper Enix. Another first down for the Panthers, this time at the 27. We've got a stoppage here by the officials just to get a substitution in. Something involving personnel.
One thing to watch here, Carson, with these teams that really put it on the ground against you, get down here inside the 30, it becomes 4-down territory. If you don't have false starts and holds and all that stuff, they become really, really difficult to hold from getting 10 yards.
1st and 10. They hand it off. Enix up the middle. Cooper Enix will score. Touchdown, Miami Trace.
Yeah, big time job by the offensive line up top there. Give Bernard and 33 and Morton and Wilt and Guthrie a lot of credit there. That was pretty much touch football there. Big hole and Enix takes advantage. Big what do we have there? 27 yards.
27 yards for a score by the 6'3" senior. On to kick the extra point, Xavier Pedroza. And a flag on the kick. Encroachment on Waverly prior to the kick.
Moved it up there. I didn't know if that would persuade them any. It looks like they're still going to stay with it.
Still going to line up to kick. That looks like it's number 89, Cam Thorman, the freshman, on to kick the extra point, rather. Austin Brown, the hold. Snap kick is away and good. 27-yard touchdown run from Cooper Enix. Miami Trace with a 7-0 lead here in Waverly. You're watching Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
Hey, Mike Glockner here from the Glockner family of dealerships. Want to wish all the fall sports athletes a very safe and successful year. Good luck.
Back here at Rediger Field in downtown Waverly, Miami Trace with an early 7-0 lead after a 27-yard touchdown run by Cooper Enix. Shane, Miami Trace really pounding the rock so far.
Well, yeah, two things. One set up by the special teams right off the bat, good field position, and then they get the stop off the turnover, good field position again, and then you're right. The offensive line really takes over. Baker, Phipps, and Enix all taking some turns carrying the football, and that was really, really impressive. Those last 2 or 3 runs, you could see the offensive line really starting to take over the early quarter.
You know, Cooper Enix, he's listed as a linebacker, tight end type of player, but when you have a guy with his size, with his strength that can run the ball really well, I'm sure that helps your offense.
Well, let's face it, if you're back there playing defensive back, you looking forward to tackling that thing 10, 11, 12 times a night, know what? You know what I mean? He's an impressive young man.
Number 89, Cam Thurman.
Cam Thurman will boot it away for Miami Trace. Hez Nelson and Trey Perry, 2 men back for the Waverly Tigers.
Yeah, really, really athletic return men for Waverly. Let's see what Miami Trace has in mind. A little bit of a hole there in the middle of the field. Let's see if they give them a chance or if they try to kick it a little shorter away from it.
Thorman, rather short kick, fielded at the 85 and dropped by Perry, and Perry picks it back up at the 20. Perry trying to get to the outside, taken down by a swarm of Panthers. Another miscue there. Thankfully, Waverly was able to pick it back up and keep possession, but another
Ball's gonna be spotted at the
hold your breath moment for Waverly.
Yeah, I like the aggressiveness coming up and playing the ball. If he's able to catch it there on the run, I think he's going to have a little bit of room to run. Just mishandled a little bit. To his credit, he stayed with it, picked it back up, and Waverly offense will come back out second possession of the evening.
Waverly will start at their own 22. 3 men on the near side. Myers gives it off. And about 3 or 4 Miami Trace defenders there to tackle Justin Kennison for maybe a yard gain.
Justin Kennison on the carry. Second and 10 for the Tigers.
Garrett Rosenberger, Brock Burdett, Hudson Harris, Cale Nisley, and Sawyer Myers make up the Waverly offensive line from left to right. Second and 10 at the 22. Myers swing over to Nelson. And an incomplete pass, a late whistle there.
You're right. Yeah, it looked like it's taking an extra second just to think about where the ball was released, and then makes the signal there. Good break for Waverly.
Yeah, so far Waverly already had the pick and then the dropped kickoff and almost had another, again, hold your breath moment there. Maybe just some first game jitters, you think?
Yeah, a little bit. Gunnar Myers obviously has all the arm talent in the world. Sometimes just need to see that first completion. Kind of like a shooter in basketball. See that ball go through the net one time.
Third and 10 at the 22. Myers drops back, looking, intended for Perry, but incomplete. And it'll be 4th and 10.
Yeah, nice route combination there. Had a little bit of a window. Quarterback and a wide receiver not quite on the same page. And it's going to force a 4th and long and a punt. Waverly starts 0 for 4 in the pass game with that one interception.
And again, it's another situation like I talked about where you lose your second all-time leader in passing yards in Mason Kelly. You put in Gunnar Myers, who's never played a ton of minutes in varsity football, never started. You know, you're going to have moments like that as Waverly will burn its first timeout of the night.
Waverly, their first of the half.
Another look at last season for Waverly, as I mentioned, 6-6 overall. A week 11 playoff win up at Fairfield Union before falling to Indian Valley, who was undefeated, went on to win the state championship in Division IV. But this team, as I mentioned, lost a lot of key players in the program, including not only Mason Kelly, but 4 other members of the All-Southeast District team last season. 14 seniors total.
Wow, yeah, really talented group, really athletic group. And you're right, on opening night, you start filling all those holes and talent, but it's unproven talent at this point. It just needs a little chance to get the feet wet. And this becomes a big possession for them. Down 7-0, you want to execute your punt here, try to flip the field the best you can.
Waverly will boot it away. On to field it for Miami Trace. No, he backs away. Jansen Smith lets it roll. And they will field it at the Miami Trace 38-yard line. And that's where Miami Trace will start their next possession.
Yeah, about a 15-yard difference there on the bounce. Miami Trace just about 5 yards off in their gauge of how far that punt was going to fly in the air. Thought about coming up the field. It probably thought better of it once they couldn't get there and at least take possession. But, yeah, it'd been nice to be able to come up on that pawl right around the 50-yard line there and field that thing.
Jordan Poling on the boot for Waverly. 1st and 10 for Miami Trace with 5:21 left here in the first quarter.
Miami Trace still hasn't put it in the air yet, Carson.
A pistol set for the Panthers with Weston Dawes and Julian Baker in the backfield with Phipps, and they're able to draw Waverly off sides.
Yeah, good hard count. Looked like Waverly was going to bring some pressure off that right side, just a little anxious.
Encroachment. Defense. 5 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
5-yard penalty makes it 1st and 5 at the 43. This is the 5th straight time that these two schools have met in week 1. Waverly 3-1 since these two have started playing in 2021. As they hand it off to Baker on 1st down. Baker able to get just near the 1st down marker. Don't think he quite got there. It'll be 2nd down and 1.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to run in behind Guthrie. Nice job there from Wilt and Smith and company as well on that right side. And that now puts you in that 2nd and 1. Again, a lot of options. Miami Trace been keeping on the ground. Obviously, you can continue to do that and move the chains. If you do have something to the edge or something, this might be a good time for a little ball play fake and see what you can get.
Panthers stay in that pistol formation. 2nd and 1. They hand it up. Doss up the middle. Weston Doss breaks free. He's got some room. Falls forward. Weston Doss. Bowling ball carry. 1st down. And the Panthers are at the Waverly 25.
Yeah, 27 yards, I believe it was. And nothing fancy about it. Just, hand it right up the middle. Dawes running hard north and south. And Miami Trace in business once again.
We've seen Miami Trace using their tight ends such as Enix and Doss, kind of like fullbacks, and it's working out for them so far. Here's Baker. Baker working his way through traffic, picks up about 5.
Julian Baker on the carry.
Yeah, it's just one of those when you get the real clean ball handling and get an athlete like Baker running in behind Guthrie. That's just pretty easy money, 4 or 5 yards at a pop. So what you look for here, Carson, is for Waverly to start sending a little bit extra and kind of guessing a little bit into the gaps and see if they can't blow up at least those first couple options in the option game.
3:45 left in the 1st quarter. Enix in the backfield taking over for Doss. Phipps keeps himself, pitches it to Enix. Enix gets to the outside, and they're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Panthers. 2nd rushing touchdown for Cooper Enix from 20 yards out.
Wow, great read from the quarterback Phipps, and then Enix, who's really showed us some power early. Carson, I thought that the burst of speed to the edge was really, really impressive there. About 5-10 yards into that, I didn't think it was going to go all the way to the house, and then he just went to another gear and turned the corner. Very impressive athlete, Enix.
Cooper Enix showing the burst of speed, getting to the sideline and finding the end zone. Thorman on to kick the extra point. Snap is good. The hold kick is up, and he sinks the PAT. His 2nd of the night and the 2nd rushing touchdown for Cooper Enix. 14-0 Panthers. You're watching Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
Glo Fiber is now in Ohio. And with gig speed fiber internet, we're keeping things real. As in real reliable speeds. Real people who really want to talk to you. Not to mention, real simple pricing. Switch to Glo Fiber today to get real fast, real reliable fiber internet and your first month free. Glo Fiber is here. Welcome to Glo Ohio. Call 1-833-WANT-GLO or visit glofiber.com to switch today.
We welcome you back to downtown Waverly as the Miami Trace Panthers hold a 14-0 lead here on the Waverly Tigers. Carson Francis, Shane Combs with you. Shane, we've seen Cooper Enix just dominating the ground game for Miami Trace.
Yeah, Miami Trace put it on the ground 11 times now with 4 different ball carriers. Enix just 3 times. Already has 59 yards and the 2 touchdowns, 1 of 27, 1 of 20.
Last season, these two teams met in Week 1 action up at Miami Trace, a 28-23 win for Waverly, but Cooper Enix had a really nice game through the air. 8 catches for 120 yards, showing off his speed running the football tonight.
Well, what impressed you is you talked about Miami Trace with the quarterback over the last, especially over the last 3 years with his arm talent. now a little bit more the strength in the run game, and they've been able to pivot. And man, they have 3 or 4 ball carriers and obviously an incredible offensive line. This is going to be a run attack in 2025 that's going to be a bear for the FAC as well as their non-league opponents.
Xavier Pedroza will boot it away for Miami Trace. Here's Perry, fields it at the 7. Trey Perry working his way up the middle before being tackled just before the 25-yard line. Gage Henry, one of the Panthers, in on the tackle. Shane, Waverly hasn't been able to find anything offensively. What do they need to do on this drive to find some rhythm?
Well, I'd like to see him get back and get Nelson involved there on the edge a little bit. I think on that first drive, they were able to convert a first down where Nelson had a 9-yard run and then Kennison a little inside run on a second and short play. I think if they can get Nelson going a little bit in the run game, and then as far as the passing game, I wouldn't go away from it. There's too much talent. I'd like to see a little high percentage throw and get Myers just settled in.
Myers fakes the handoff, finds Perry on the screen, and Trey Perry picks up about 8 on the catch and run. Tackled by Hayden Cornell and Cooper Enix. 2nd down and 3.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Just nothing real fancy, just something high percentage. Let the quarterback settle in. Get your athletes the ball in space.
Myers finds Nelson now on the outside. Nelson picks up a first down, dives forward for a pickup of about 6, and that'll move the chains.
Yeah, back to back. Not a whole lot in terms of fancy design. Just throw it on out. Pretty soft coverage from Miami Trace. And
first and 10 at the 41. Nelson orbit motion. Here's Myers on the keeper, and he's going nowhere. Enix, the first one there, joined by Cam Morton. Loss of 1 on the play.
Yeah, Morton and company did a nice job up front. You're always looking to see your defensive line do a nice job. Don't let those offensive linemen get onto your linebacker. That way they can flow freely to the football.
Nelson in motion, 2nd and 11. Myers looking downfield, pass is caught, and a diving play by Nelson for a first down.
Pass is complete. The number 2 is Nelson.
Yeah, impressive catch from Nelson. Good hands there. His 2nd catch of the drive. And all of a sudden now Myers, after starting 0 for 4, good on his last 3 pass attempts, up over 30 yards.
Myers again to throw. Got a man on the sideline taken down for a gain of about 5. Briar Barch on the catch.
Forced out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Gain of 6 on the play. Bring up 2nd and 4.
Like how they're getting a lot of different guys involved. Already the 3rd Tiger to make a catch here on the drive.
2nd and 4 at the 40. Waverly showing some life offensively. Myers fakes the give, takes it himself up the middle. And that looks like stopped just short of the first down marker. 3rd down and about 1.
3rd and 1 for the Tigers.
That's where they show it to Nelson. They've had some success in that. And it ended up holding Morton there on the end. Opens up an inside running lane, 3rd and short. And I could see this being 4-down territory. Don't be afraid if Waverly gets aggressive here on this particular call.
.120 left in the opening frame. 5 on the play clock. Myers fakes the give. Outside pass is complete. Jamie Blackwell on the reception picks up another first down. Waverly continuing to move those chains here late in the first.
Yeah, Myers starting to find really good rhythm. Nice accurate throw to the outside to move the chains.
Shane, as you said, sometimes you just got to see one go through, like in basketball, a shooter.
No question.
Myers rolling out, being chased from behind by Baker. And Julian Baker takes down Gunnar Myers for a gain of about 2.
Scramble, and a 1 down to the 32. Coming up 2nd and 9.
2nd down and 9. Julian Baker showing his speed on the defensive side, coming up from behind to make the tackle. Tight end Reisner in motion, 2nd and 9. Give up the middle, here's Kennison. Kennison got some room, 1st down.
Number 5, Justin Kennison on the carry.
Justin Kennison, the 5'11 junior, picks up a big 1st down for the Tigers near the end of the 1st.
Yeah, Kennison's biggest run of the night, 13 yards.
Waverly hustles back to the line. We'll see if they run another play. They will. Myers back to throw, going downfield for Nelson, incomplete. 1 second remaining on the 1st quarter clock.
Yeah, I like the shot. You know, Myers had been good on his last 5 attempts. Got a matchup they liked with Nelson down the side, and it kind of just loosens up the defense. I like the tempo there from Waverly as well. Feels like they've got Miami Trace defense on the heels a little bit.
First sign of life we've seen from the Waverly offense. Last play of the 1st quarter. Kennison motions out to his right. Myers, pass complete by Perry, and Perry taken down just past the 15 by Hayden Brown. And that brings us to the end of the 1st quarter here in Waverly. Miami Trace with a 14-0 lead, but the Tigers threatening in the red zone. When we come back, you're watching Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
Kimberly. Tons of practice. 1 chop away from a black belt. 7 of the best sidekicks. And 5 years since her cancer diagnosis at Ohio Health.
Start of the 2nd quarter here at Waverly's Rediger Field, as Miami Trace scored with 2 rushing touchdowns from Cooper Enix, both about 20-plus yards. And now we're seeing Waverly for the first time threatening offensively. They've moved the ball really well in this drive, Shane.
Yeah, and it's been a mixture of the short passing game as well as the run game. And the Miami Trace has been a little soft on the coverage on the outside. Let's look to see the adjustment. So far, so good in terms of sure tackling after the catch. But what happens, Carson, sometimes you start to bait those cornerbacks up. Sometimes a little stop and go. Let's pay attention to that later in the game to see if that is utilized by Waverly.
Ball flips sides of the field, 3rd and 4 at the Miami Trace 14. Myers hands it off. It's Kennison, gets to the outside, and he'll pick up a 1st down.
Yeah, Waverly, the offensive line did a nice job there. Miami Trace bites in just a little bit. Those outside ends have got to set the edge, and they just got sucked in a little bit. Opened up the running lane.
That'll be 1st and goal at the 9. Waverly continuing to use that run game to their advantage. Now Myers will throw it. It's incomplete, intercepted by Jansen Smith. What a play by the senior. Gunnar Myers looked like he had Caleb Reisner wide open for a touchdown, and Jansen Smith jumps in front of it and gives possession back to Miami Trace.
Yeah, just a huge play. They were utilizing Nelson on the jet sweep. They show it, pull back, going to throw a little seam route. It looked to be there, and you're right, just an unbelievable anticipation and good hands. You know, not just knock the ball down, but go ahead and make the play and create the turnover. Big play early in this game here as Waverly looked to be threatening to cut this 14-0 lead in half.
And that's the 2nd interception thrown by Gunnar Myers, and that one, I think, a little more costly than the first. As you mentioned, Waverly is building some momentum, building some confidence offensively. Have to wonder, well, where they'll go from there. See if Miami Trace can capitalize. 1st and 10 at their own 7. They hand it off to Baker. Baker breaks free. Julian Baker, stiff arms, and he's taken down just past the 35. Nearly a 30-yard carry from Julian Baker.
6, Cooper Enix on the carry.
He's showing why he's one of the
That's
most highly anticipated players to watch in the area.
Oh, no question. Just a special athlete. Runs really, really hard, and that's going to wear on you throughout the evening. 28 yards there on that carry.
Ball at the Miami Trace 36. Another first down and 10. Phipps hands it off to Enix this time. Enix doesn't get very much, taken down by a Waverly defender. Looks like
Number 6, Cooper Enix on the carry.
Garrett Rosenberger was there on the tackle.
That's going to start to make Enix average per carry a little bit more human. His first 3 carries went 12, 27, and 20. There's just a 2-yard gain.
Miami Trace really favoring the run game tonight. And why wouldn't they? Enix, Baker, Weston Doss has had some huge carries throughout the night. Gotta like what you're seeing from the Miami Trace run game. 2nd and 8. Phipps fakes the pitch and picks up a few yards on 2nd down.
Yeah, I mentioned his ball handling earlier. I also like his vision. He does a good job of getting the head up, getting the eyes on the proper reads. So far, he's made the right decision every time.
A scoring update from around the area, courtesy of Kenneth Hay, our cameraman. It's not even the end of the first quarter yet. Zane Trace already ahead of Logan Elm, 22-0.
Wow.
3rd and 5 at the 41. Phipps hands it off to Baker. Baker gets to the outside. Julian Baker's got some room. Baker down the sideline, taken down by Nelson at the 22-yard line.
Julian Baker on the carry. As Nelson on the tackle.
They'll say he went out at the 23 still.
Ball spot at the Tiger
A
23-yard line.
36-yard pickup for the Panthers. Once again, Miami Trace really favoring this run game that's worked out so well.
Yeah, Baker's starting to really work on a pretty big first half here. Puts him right at 100 yards unofficially on just 8 carries.
Baker gets a breather. In comes the 5'9 freshman Camden LeBeau in the backfield. And a flag down on the far side.
Substitution.
Legal substitution there.
Penalty. Still first down.
I didn't catch exactly. Well, I don't know if they'd already started to break the. So many of these teams, of course, they use a little bit of the, kind of the hybrid hurry up. I don't even know that they huddle, and sometimes they come together, and it makes it tough on officials sometimes to tell.
The penalty backs up Miami Trace 1st and 15 at the Waverly 28. Phipps hands it off to Enix. Enix makes a man miss, goes down. Gain of about 3.
Number 6, Cooper Enix on the carry.
Cooper Enix, another man with multiple Division I offers in this Miami Trace offense.
Ball spot at the 26-yard line.
Holds 9 Division I offers, including ones from the likes of Miami, Ohio, Toledo, Bowling Green, Kent State, Buffalo, South Florida, Old Dominion, Marshall, and Eastern Kentucky. It's a stoppage in play here. Timeout, Miami Trace. Their first timeout of the half. With 8:49 left, Miami Trace threatening to score yet again. Shane, how does Waverly counter the run game that Miami Trace has been using all night long?
Well, I think one thing on this particular drive, you have to take advantage of the Miami Trace mistakes. So here's a situation where you get a little bit of a 2nd and long. If you can be solid in the run game here, you can force 3rd and long. Maybe you bait them into going to something else. But as far as just on the straight up run plays, it's tough because Miami Trace has big advantage up front. They have the big time running back as well, and then he's complemented by Phipps, Enix, and Dawes as well. So you can't just key on him only, or you can get beaten some other spots. So it's a tough task, but for this particular drive, to answer your question, you've got to take advantage of the Miami Trace penalty there that's got them behind the chains here, 2nd and long.
Call it 2nd and 13 from the 26. Baker back in the game, stands in the backfield behind Baron Phipps. Phipps takes the snap, fakes the give, tried to find Enix down the seam. It's incomplete.
Pass intended for Cooper Enix is incomplete.
Cooper Enix unable to hang on to that pass. 3rd and long for the Panthers.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe a lack of a better term, bait them into throwing. That was there. There's some chance. But I think I'd rather watch them do that today and to one of those backs all night. So that's what I mean by baiting them in the throw. Now you got them in the 3rd and long situation. This is your chance to get a stop.
3rd down and 13. Ball at the 26. Phipps pitches it out to Enix. Enix is going nowhere. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting Waverly defenders on Enix to make the stop. Maybe a couple more. But that's a big stop there for the Waverly defense.
Well, yeah, I never dreamed this would not turn into 4-down territory. At this point, I think I would probably try to punt, see if I could pin them in there. That's probably the first time, Carson, I don't know how you felt. That's probably the first time that I didn't like the read of the option. I thought the inside run had some potential there.
Sometimes when you're running that read option, you got the choice to keep it or pitch it. You're not going to choose right every time.
No question. In that time, like I said, he's been really, really solid throughout the first quarter. Now here in the second quarter, that's one of the first times I've maybe disagreed with his read.
Miami Trace. Their second charge.
Miami Trace burning its 2nd timeout on this possession alone.
It's an interesting call there with the field position because you're punting anyway. Maybe it comes back to get you here later in the half if you're on the drive.
Also, the play clock was down to its final seconds, maybe trying to avoid the delay of game penalty as well.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. With the where you're going to be punting here from anyway. I'm not. Again, you're trying to pin them inside the 10 if you can. So maybe that yardage is something they didn't want to give up.
More coverage coming for you tomorrow. We've got some volleyball action tomorrow afternoon up in Frankfurt. U and Dewey will have the call for South Webster and Adena in a marquee non-league matchup. And then tomorrow night, John Bruce and I will have the call in Jackson as the Ironmen host Little Miami to get the season started over in the Apple City. Make it 4th and 19 for the Miami Trace punt. And they fake the snap to Baker. Baker gets a few, but not nearly enough for the first down. Miami Trace turns it over.
Well, I don't hate the call if it were a better down in distance. That's obviously a pretty big spot to go. Maybe, again, I'm not familiar with their punt game. Maybe they just thought that was as much of a field position play as anything. But nonetheless, Waverly got that stop that we talked about. And if you're Waverly's offense, you should have some confidence from your ability to move the football. You just didn't cash it in there in the red zone.
Maybe 4th and short. Maybe
Yeah.
a little more plausible. 1st and 10 at the 24 for Waverly. Pass intended for Hez Nelson, incomplete.
Yeah, Waverly bunched 4 of them to our short side here and just tried to use the other 3 to get out in front and block, and they were going to hit Nelson in some space and just couldn't connect with his receiver.
Waverly, another team similar to Miami Trace, had a really solid start to last season before things didn't necessarily go their way down the stretch. 5-2 start. They ended up 6-6 final record. Here's Nelson on the outside on
Fumble.
the screen pass. Ball comes out, and it's recovered by Weston Doss of Miami Trace. 3rd turnover of the night for Waverly this time A fumble scooped up on the near sideline by Weston Doss.
Yeah, it was going to be about an 8 or 9 yard completion. They're going to set up a very third and manageable, but ball pops out and then takes a nice bounce for Miami Trace, because I thought when it first had come out to our short side, it was going to make it to the Waverly sideline. Takes a nice Miami Trace bounce and give Dawes credit, scoops it up there, and now on the plus side one more time with good field positions, Miami Trace.
Weston Doss getting there just before the ball rolls out of bounds. And once again, Miami Trace takes over in enemy territory. 1st and 10 at the 34. Phipps fakes the give. He's going to take it himself,
Fumble
and he
again.
loses the ball. And Waverly gets it right back. Caleb Reisner on the recovery. Landon Ramey, the middle linebacker, popped it out from Baron Phipps. Right back at you, Waverly takes possession back.
Well, give Waverly defense credit. They had to have it. I mean, obviously down 14-0, the short field, and you're like, here we go again, but the ball pops out, and Waverly with another opportunity here to see if they can go down before the half and cut this thing in half, make a ball game out of this.
First turnover of the game for Miami Trace. 1st and 10 at their own 33 for Waverly. Myers finds Kennison in the backfield. Justin Kennison gets to the sideline, lost the football before it rolls out of bounds. That ball's like a hot potato tonight.
I was going to say, evidently here in the last 2 minutes, someone
39-yard line.
put something a little slick on it.
Never know what can happen in Southern Ohio high school football. 2nd and 4 at the 39. Myers fakes the give, finds Briar Barch on the outside for a gain of a couple yards. 3rd and 1.
Already the 16th time Waverly's put the ball in the air tonight.
Gunnar Myers in his first varsity start under center. 3rd and 1, looks to throw again. This pass is incomplete. Briar Barch again couldn't hang on to it.
Barch gave pretty good effort there. Ball just thrown. Could tell a little low behind him maybe. Fourth and short here. Put your coaching hat on here, Carson. What do you think?
They look like they're keeping Myers out there. They're going to go for this 4th and 1 at the 42. They motion Hez Nelson over, fakes the give, and we got a timeout before the play.
Timeout, Waverly. Their second charge timeout.
14-0 Miami Trace with 7 minutes to go till halftime. And Waverly in their own territory on 4th and short, going for it.
Well, again, I understand, you feel like offensively you've moved the ball and you don't have a lot to show for it. It really is a tough call here. On one side you can say, it's easy to say, stay patient. It's only 14-0, still a lot of football to play. On the other side of it, Waverly offensively is aggressive by nature anyway. And you want to show a lot of confidence in your offensive line here in the early going. You've had some success. Kennison in the middle there. His last couple runs have been well. Nelson to the edge has been successful.
Tigers line up on 4th and 1 at their own 42. Myers takes a snap, fakes the pitch, goes up the middle, and fights his way forward, picks up a first down. Gutsy play call from the Tigers. It's enough to pick up the first down.
Yeah, it really is a gutsy call, and give Myers credit. That's a nice physical finish. He was met right around the line of scrimmage. I think he would have had it anyway, but the good second effort leaves nothing to doubt in terms of the spot.
1st and 10 at the 46. 6:35 remaining till half. Myers drops back. He's looking downfield. He's got Reisner incomplete. Caleb Reisner can't hang on to that one. He was wide open.
Yeah, just a little seam route just off the back shoulder. And some of those early in the year, it's tough to tell, Carson. You know, your first instinct is maybe the ball's not on target, but sometimes just the slightest angle in a route or so forth can throw that off there. So sometimes it goes both ways.
2nd down and 10, they hand it off. Kennison picks up about 4 on the carry, 3rd and about 6.
Kennison on the carry up to the 50-yard line, and a 4 on the play. Bring up 3rd and 6 for the Tigers.
Yeah, Kennison 27 yards on the ground on 5 carries. He was stuffed there on some earlier runs, and he started to get it going here.
And with 6:05 left, we have an official's timeout for an injured player. So while he's getting checked out by the training staff, we will step aside. You're watching Ohio High School Football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
Richard. Countless nights in the garage. 8 shiny new pistons. 1 very happy 16-year-old granddaughter. And 2 years since starting cancer treatment at Ohio Health.
Back here in Waverly, Tigers trail 14-0 to Miami Trace, facing a 3rd down and 6 at midfield. As left tackle Garrett Rosenberger shaken up on that last play. Myers drops back on 3rd and 6. Pass is complete to Briar Barch, and Barch picks up the 1st down.
Pass complete to number 3, Briar Barch. Down to the 42-yard line. 1st and 10 Tigers.
Nice route, just a couple yards past the stick. Good timing there from Myers and Barch to move the chains.
One of the nice things, Waverly hasn't necessarily had a big play through the air, but they're picking up just enough to keep the drive going. But that'll be a roadblock there as Kennison stopped in the backfield.
Yeah, good penetration there for Miami Trace. Read it all the way.
Also 2 on the play. Going to bring up 2nd and 12 for the Tigers. Ball at the 44-yard line.
Loss of 2 on the carry. Another scoring update in our area at the half. Bloom Carroll ahead of Chillicothe, 6-0. 2nd and 12, they hand it off to Kennison on the outside. Doesn't get much.
Justin Kennison on the carry.
Gage Henry, one of the Panthers on the stop.
Third and 9.
Kennison's carry puts Waverly just past the original line of scrimmage, 3rd and 9.
It's a pretty impressive first half, really, from Chillicothe from last year to this year. You know, I know it's just a half of football. That shows a little bit of the improvement.
Myers drops back, looking downfield for Nelson. Nelson hauls it in, falling backwards. Big pickup for the Tigers.
Nelson.
Right around 15 yards.
7-yard line. 1st and 10 Tigers.
.430 remaining in the half, 14-0 Miami Trace. Kennison up the middle. Gets some pop from Weston Doss. Minimal gain of about 2.
You know, Carson, even though it's been some tough yardage to come by inside, I still like the balance with Waverly. I think in their pass game, if you're able to run inside, it just kind of keeps that defensive line off balance a little bit and gives Myers just a little bit more time to throw, especially in their play fake game.
Under 4 minutes to play, 14-0 Miami Trace. Myers looking downfield, almost intercepted. Missed his target there, and it almost went right into the hands of Hayden Brown. Lucky for that to just be an incomplete pass.
Yeah, he really was. He locked in on the receiver a little bit. Once the underneath coverage started to drop, I thought he had the guy out in the flat, but he'd already kind of locked in and committed to that. And you're exactly right in your call there. Very, very fortunate.
Shout out Kenneth Hay for helping us not only on the camera, but with our technical issues as well, helping us run a smooth stream here tonight.
Man of many talents.
3rd and 8 at the 25. Myers out to Nelson on the screen. Has Nelson trying to get forward. Not enough to get the first down. Call it 4th and 4 at the 21. And Waverly not even thinking twice about it. They're leaving that offense out on the field.
Yeah, no question. Easy call here. I like the versatility of Nelson. I like the creativity and the play design and the different ways Waverly gets him the football. Let's see where he lines up here on the 4th and 4. Looks like he's going to go, well, a little bit over in the slot or that halfback spot.
Nelson motions over, 4th and 4. They go to Nelson, and it's complete. Tigers move the chains once again inside the 15. We're seeing again Shane Waverly with a nice drive, throwing the ball. Let's see if they can capitalize this time. Had a drive similar to this earlier, ended in an interception.
Yeah, I like how they use Nelson in motion there, and it puts some confusion in the defense, and they're able to go to him for the big 4th down conversion.
1st and 10, Myers pass intended for Reisner, incomplete. Through the hands of the 6'2 sophomore.
24th time in the half that Myers has put it in the air. So, again, that can wear on the defensive line a little bit too, and all that pass rush.
Second and 10 at the 13. Orbit motion from Hez Nelson. They swing it out to Nelson. Nelson's got an open field, and he will walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Waverly.
19 yards. I just mentioned how I love how they move him around, his versatility, the creativity, and play calling and design. And you get Nelson's speed and athleticism on the edge, and he cashes it in for 6.
Hez Nelson with the score for the Tigers and the extra point. Set to cut this deficit in half. Bryson Spangenberg, the extra point, is up, and he sinks it. Waverly gets on the board for the first time this season, cuts it to a 14-7 deficit here in Waverly. 2:42 till half. You're watching Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
Glo Fiber is now in Ohio. And with gig speed fiber internet, we're keeping things real. As in real, reliable speeds. Real people who really want to talk to you. Not to mention, real simple pricing. Switch to Glo Fiber today to get real fast, real reliable fiber internet and your first month free. Glo Fiber is here. Welcome to Glo Ohio. Call 1-833-WANT-GLO or visit glofiber.com to switch today.
14-7 with 2:42 remaining till half here in Waverly after the score on the completed pass from Gunnar Myers to Hez Nelson.
Yeah, on the 4th down conversion, they brought him in motion left to right, just a little bit more of a traditional motion, and then got him out into the flat. He was able to run 6-7 yard route when they needed 4. Then that time they bring him back the other way in order. Then what happens is you get him out there on the edge in space, and he catches the ball in stride. Well, now he's got all that room to work, and his speed and athleticism does the rest. That was a huge answer there for Waverly.
Tigers will boot it away. It's Hayden Cornell fields it, and he will return it, trying to get to the near sideline. And he just misses the 20-yard line. Good coverage on the kickoff by Waverly. And Miami Trace will set up shop at their own 19. Shane, it's worth noting, we've seen Waverly consistently build up on offense. They've consistently progressed in their drives. It's worth noting they don't have a single senior in their offensive starting lineup.
Yeah, you mentioned it in the pregame, right? They graduated quite a bit a year ago, so we knew they had talent coming back, but we knew it was young talent, many playing under the Friday Night Lights for the first time, or maybe some who had played are playing some different roles and some different positions. So, and I think that showed. I think after the first couple of drives, maybe some of the butterflies start to go away, and I've been impressed with them.
1st and 10 at the 20 for Miami Trace. Here's Julian Baker. Spins and taken down after a pickup of 5.
Clock could become a little bit of a factor in terms of the run game of Miami Trace. We'll follow that on the drive for you.
Flag down after the pickup.
I did come in late.
Encroachment on Waverly. Worth noting that it looked like Waverly's defense had a little trouble getting set. Miami Trace was hustling to get the ball snapped. That'll make it 1st and 10 at the 30 for Miami Trace. Phipps gives it to Baker. Baker working his way through traffic. Falls forward after picking up about 7-8 yards.
Up to the 37-yard line.
Yeah, Baker's 11th carry of the night, already well up over 100 yards. Remember the last time they got into close to the red zone, they had given him a little bit of a break, and it kind of ended up killing the drive.
Now here's Baker again. Baker fighting his way forward, gets outside for another 1st down.
Another 10 yards, and what that does is it stops the clock at 1:40. Remember that timeout I mentioned earlier in the half? Let's see if that plays a factor here.
First and 10 at the 47. Phipps fakes the pitch, rolls out. He's going to take it himself. Barron Phipps gets to the outside, goes out of bounds, and picks up a 1st down on the keeper. Now Miami Trace, as we've seen all night long, favoring the run game. It's nice when the quarterback gets in on the action himself.
Yeah, just a good old-fashioned boot and got outside, and he had a receiver over the top, but was rolling, as a right-hander rolling here to the near side. Really couldn't set his feet to throw, and it was a run all the way and gets 14 yards. Now to the 39, still 1:20, plenty of time for Miami Trace here.
Pistol set for the Panthers. Enix and Baker in the backfield. They hand it off to Enix. Enix working his way forward over a defender for a gain of 9. Enix showing off the athleticism a little bit on that carry.
Yeah, I love how close to the line of scrimmage he is in that formation. So when you hand it to him, he's getting positive yards right from the get-go. You'll give a lot of credit to Matthew Bernard there on the left side, sealing that edge for him.
2nd down, they hand it off. Baker. Baker stuffed. Landon Ramey and Cale Nisley assisting on that tackle.
Cross back to the 34-yard line.
Timeout Waverly. Miami Trace, rather. 3rd and final timeout taken by the Panthers.
Yeah, so now out of the timeouts, it makes you decide a little bit in the run game. Obviously, if you can move past the chain. Now they just changed the spot. They've moved it back a little bit more there. 34, I think, is where they're going to put that ball down. And if you run the football here, Carson, and you're short of that line to gain, now you've got a clock issue and it's 4th down. So Miami Trace got to talk about all situations. I mentioned on the air last night, I don't think we talk about time and score in football enough. We do in basketball constantly. Time and score in football just as important. Understanding clock, understanding what you got to do in every situation.
And if you're Miami Trace, especially with the lead, you'll take that, but you want to get some insurance here at the end of the half with Waverly receiving the 2nd half kickoff. Phipps rolls out to his right on 3rd down, trying to get outside, throws it forward, incomplete. Took a mean hit on the throw by Hudson Harris.
Pressure penalty, 55, Hudson Harris.
Good decision to throw it away, because if you get tackled in play there, the clock's going to run. So now you throw the incompletion, 41 seconds. It's going to be 4th and 5. Now, if you don't convert, obviously you're giving Waverly a little bit of time.
Clock here reads 41 seconds till halftime, 4th and 5. Set in stone, 4-down territory for the Panthers. Phipps drops back to pass, almost intercepted. In and out of the hands of Landon Ramey, but regardless, turnover on downs. Waverly takes back over at the 34.
Yeah, on a 4th down play, obviously Waverly go get the ball anyway, but if Ramey secures that there in stride, he might still be running.
Turnover on downs for the Panthers. With Waverly receiving the second half kickoff, you kind of wonder how aggressive they'll be with the ball here towards the end of the half. Only 37 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Carlos. I think I would look for something really high percentage. Again, get one of my athletes out on the corner. Miami Trace going to probably have a little softer coverage than normal. You might be able to break something in that way.
Kennison in motion, and I think that's going to be one of those false start on everyone except the center.
Illegal procedure, offense, 5-yard penalty.
We see more of those watching football than we think, Shane.
Yeah, oh yeah. Maybe he was right. Maybe everyone else was wrong.
Prater, please put 37 seconds back on the game clock.
Time taken off the clock. They stop play to add some time back on, it looks like. There we go, 37 seconds left in the half. Myers in the gun. Kennison in motion behind him. Myers drops back. Looking pass is complete to Nelson for a short gain. 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that makes you wonder now if they just won't go ahead and be okay where they're at going to the locker room.
Clock is ticking. Waverly does not have to run another play.
Looks like they're telling them from the sideline down here to hold it. And yeah, I think that's a good call there. I mean, look, at 14-0, you're in jeopardy of going down 21-0, and you come back 14-7. I think if you're Waverly, you got to feel pretty good about where you're at.
And that is where the first half comes to a close. Waverly started in a 14-0 hole, but they score to cut the deficit in half. Tigers will receive the second half kickoff as we will have halftime from Waverly. 14-7 Miami Trace, your halftime score in week 1 of Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
It's me, Wednesday Addams. Your life just took a dark turn. I regret to inform you that I have devised the meal of misfortune with Wendy's. It's pure torture for your taste buds, with 4 nightmarish dips of dread. Don't waste my time asking which ones you'll get. You must surrender to your fate. Enjoy the anguish.
Hey, Mike Glockner here from the Glockner family of dealerships. Want to wish all the fall sports athletes a very safe and successful year. Good luck.
Are you looking for the best deals on quality used trucks and cars?
Great news. Chillicothe Truck has what you're looking for.
Choose from a wide selection of makes and models. All vehicles undergo a detailed multi-point inspection and extensive reconditioning before hitting the lot. Our friendly team offers a no-pressure sales experience, ensuring you find the perfect vehicle to fit your needs. Plus, you can customize your ride with our extensive range of truck accessories, from bed covers to lift kits. Stop by 173 Rennick Avenue in Chillicothe or call us today at 740-773-8782 to get started right now.
Kimberly. Tons of practice. One chop away from a black belt. 7 of the best sidekicks, and 5 years since her cancer diagnosis at Ohio Health.
At North Fork Animal Clinic, we're more than your pet's health care. We're your neighbors. We combine top-quality veterinary care with the availability you can count on, keeping tails wagging and pets thriving. And as proud supporters of youth sports in Southern Ohio, we're committed to helping our whole community grow strong. North Fork Animal Clinic, caring for pets, supporting our community.
Richard. Countless nights in the garage. 8 shiny new pistons. 1 very happy 16-year-old granddaughter. And 2 years since starting cancer treatment at Ohio Health.
Since 1853, Tomlinson Insurance has been protecting families, farms, and businesses in our community. As an independent agency, we offer personalized coverage for your auto, home, farm, and business, plus health and life insurance too. And we proudly partner with Erie Insurance to give you peace of mind with reliable coverage at competitive rates. Tomlinson Insurance. Let our history be your future. Call us today at 740-773-4181 or visit us at tomlinsonins.com.
Rathkamp Financial is a comprehensive financial services firm committed to helping our clients improve their long-term financial success. Our customized programs seek to grow, protect, and conserve our clients' wealth by delivering personalized service and expertise. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member, FINRA SIPC. Please call us at 740-775-1040 to schedule a consultation.
At Chillicothe Comfort Heating and Air, your comfort is our priority year-round.
Whether it's blazing hot or freezing cold, we've got your back with fast, reliable service you can trust.
Locally owned, honest, and done right the first time.
We have financing options available for every budget, as well as 60 months, 0% interest.
Call us today and feel the difference that comfort makes.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by Willie & Son Trucking. Willie & Son Trucking has been a proud supporter of local student athletes, coaches, and athletic programs throughout its history. Be sure to look out for the Shack Athlete of the Week presented by Willie & Son Trucking each week at sosaohio.com.
Glo Fiber is now in Ohio. And with gig speed fiber internet, we're keeping things real. As in real, reliable speeds. Real people who really want to talk to you. Not to mention, real simple pricing. Switch to Glo Fiber today to get real fast, real reliable fiber internet and your first month free. Glo Fiber is here. Welcome to Glo Ohio. Call 1-833-WANT-GLO or visit glofiber.com to switch today.
Hey, Mike Glockner here from the Glockner family of dealerships. Want to talk to you about our express service that we offer at every Glockner location. Did you know that you don't need an appointment if you need a routine service done to your vehicle? All you have to do is show up. No appointment necessary. Stop by and let us serve you at any Glockner location today.
Mark. 6 months of training. 8 miles to go. A 3-way tie for almost last place. And 3 years since he and his team at Ohio Health left cancer in the dust.
Experience the hometown Chevrolet difference. Check out our huge selection of Silverado trucks, Equinox SUVs, and the latest Chevy models. Priced to move and ready to hit the road today. Plus, with the Hometown Advantage, you get free oil changes for life and a 10-year, 150,000-mile limited powertrain warranty at no extra cost. That's real value and real peace of mind. Your Hometown Chevrolet is proud to be your trusted local dealer of new and pre-owned inventory, delivering unbeatable deals and top-notch service. Visit us today at 501 West Emmett Avenue in Waverly or start shopping online at yourhometownchevy.com.
Trace, Marching Panther Band. Ladies and gentlemen, under the direction of Zach Ross, Tom Patterson, Justin Traylor, and Steve Launer, we proudly present the 2025 edition of the Waverly Marching Tigers. The band opens its first halftime show with one of Hard Rock's most memorable party anthems. From 1980, here is the AC/DC hit, You Shook Me All Night Long.
Passed it 2/3 of the time. Miami Trace is running 26 times. And they don't do Miami Trace. And then they had the penalty, and then they got the problem, and they gave it right back. Yeah. Miami Trace is only get out of our own way. Playing out
And now, in concert formation, the band slows the tempo and plays a beautiful ballad recorded by the legendary group Chicago, featuring some of our senior band members with an alto sax solo by Emma Watkins, tenor sax solos by both Sarah Steger and Hadley Carsey, and trumpet duet by Carter Blakeman and Mahala Thacker. Listen to the Marching Tigers perform Chicago's hit song from 1982, Hard to Say I'm Sorry. And now, with drum break written by percussion advisor Steve Loner, and with exciting dance moves charted by band members Carter Lakeman, Sarah Stager, Hadley Carsey, Kanan Syde, Emma Watkins, Gage Valerie, Bella Cuellar, Alyssa Hopkins, Mahala Hacker, and McKenna Jones. The band closes tonight's show playing a hit song from the hard rock band Aerosmith. Written by Steven Tyler from their 1987 album Permanent Vacation, here is Dude Looks Like a Lady. The Waverly Marching Tigers.
Halftime festivities here in Waverly come to a close. We hope you enjoyed getting to watch both the Miami Trace and Waverly marching bands. The halftime entertainment, always a sign that high school football is back, Shane.
Yeah, I've always said Friday night, it's such a community event. Yeah, obviously the incredible football game, Friday Night Lights, but it's the band, it's the cheerleaders. You can smell that grill going. nice here behind us with the. It's a huge athletic budget type of thing. Your home games on your football season are so important to all of your sports programs, and certainly Waverly doing just fine here tonight with the gate. Awesome crowd on hand.
Carson Francis and Shane Combs with you tonight from Waverly, 14-7 in favor of Miami Trace over the Waverly Tigers. Shane, we were talking during the break that Miami Trace, obviously they started out in control. They controlled the line of scrimmage pretty much all the first half, but Waverly found their land legs a little bit towards the end of the half, and they're making this one interesting.
They really did. I mean, Miami Trace threatened to really take control and blow this thing open a little bit. Miami Trace, they ran the ball 26 times for well over 200, led by Baker, who was well over 120 yards on just 13 carries. And I think that's where I would start with halftime adjustments. If you're Miami Trace, you just got to go in and you got to talk to yourself about how, look, we were complete control of this thing, and then we started to do some things to ourselves with some penalties. We put the ball on the ground the one time, and then we got ourselves in a little bit of a clock situation on the last drive where we didn't have time to continue to run the football. So really, other than those plays, they haven't even really looked to throw the ball. Waverly, on the other hand, they threw it 2/3 of their snaps. They put it in the air. I think unofficially I had it 26 attempts, 15 to 26. What I had up over 100, right around 120. Myers did have the one touchdown to Nelson, and then threw the 2 interceptions. The one really a fine play by Smith down on the goal line for Miami Trace. So Jansen Smith made the nice play, the senior. I'd say, would you agree that you'd star that one as the play of the game to this point?
The interception, 100%. Yeah. That play Miami Trace, 2 interceptions already, one by Jansen Smith, one by Hayden Brown, but the one by Jansen Smith we were talking about, if Waverly scores on that play, the game's tied. And, already we're talking about them being right in the thick of this game, but tie game, things are a much different story here for Waverly. And they start the half with possession. How do you attack this opening drive for Waverly?
Well, I think you want to stay balanced. I mean, obviously they put the ball in the air. That's who they are. But on the drive that they started to move the ball, I thought they stayed a little bit more balanced with the run game. They were able to utilize Kennison on the inside, Nelson to the outside. Myers was even able to keep it a little bit. And I think that just slows down the pass rush a little bit, keeps them from really selling out. And I really like the way they moved Nelson around. In your calls there, you were doing a great job in the formation. He would line up left side, right side. He'd go in motion. He'd use the orbit motion. They used him in the run game. They used him in the pass game. And he's quite a weapon. If you can get him the football in space, he's going to make plenty of plays.
And for Miami Trace, we've talked all half about how it's been the run game, ground and pound. You said they only threw the ball 3 times in the whole first half. We were expecting to see Julian Baker getting all the love running the ball, and he's had his moments, but Cooper Enix, Weston Doss getting some huge carries in there as well. Baron Phipps has had a few keepers himself, have really balanced the run game out for Miami Trace.
I think it's a simple game of math. I really do, Carson. If Miami Trace doesn't false start, if they don't fumble, if they don't get in their own way, they're going to be really difficult here as they start to wear down this Waverly defense. Not running the ball 3 times, 4 times, especially if they can get on the plus side of the field and not get 10 yards. So if you're Waverly, you got to win first down. You got to bait them into the pass game just a little bit. I thought that's when they had some success. And if you're Waverly, can you get a hat on the football? Can you knock one loose? I thought that was a big play. Remember, we had the back-to-back fumbles here. Waverly puts it on the ground right here in front of us, and on the very next play, Miami Trace gives it right back. So sometimes if you can't stop a team in terms of the way they're just pounding you, can you win first down? Can you force them into the pass game? And then can you cause the turnover?
Sun on its way down here in Waverly as the Miami Trace kickoff team takes the field to get this second half underway. Has Nelson and Trey Perry, the 2 deep men, back for the Tigers. Miami Trace looking to start the season in the win column for the second time in the past 3 years.
Go back to the pregame there. What was that stat you gave me about Coach Kravitz? 11-1.
He's 11-1 in season openers. And the one loss was to Miami Trace here at home 2 seasons ago. Played each other each of the last 5 season openers. Waverly 3-1 so far. As Jordan Thurman boots it away. As Hez Nelson scoops it up at the 15. Nelson working to the near sideline. And he's tackled by Jacob Reinschild.
Miami Trace has seen something on film there. They've been able to pick on that little opening where the Waverly return man hasn't really been able to catch the ball in rhythm at all, and it's really helped the Miami coverage win field position.
So 1st and 10 at the 23 for the Waverly Tigers. Gunnar Myers back in the shotgun. He drops back to throw. Tried to go for Briar Barch. He slipped on his route, and the pass falls incomplete.
Yeah, just a little out route. Barch, as he planted, as you said, just lost his footing. And fortunate, anytime that happens, you worry about the turnover, so the incomplete's not that big a deal there.
We talked about how Gunnar Myers found his rhythm there, especially those last 2 or 3 drives in the first half. Trying to make things happen here in the second as he completes a pass to Hez Nelson, who gets past the sticks for a first down. We've said Hez Nelson's name a lot tonight, and I feel like that's not going to end anytime soon.
No, it's certainly been his favorite target. And again, he has so many different matchups that they like at all parts of the field.
1st and 10, out to Nelson again. Nelson gets through traffic, gets a block, stiff arms a man and goes out of bounds near the 40. A flag is down, however. They're going to call a face mask on Miami Trace.
Miami Trace hasn't had a lot of penalties against them. Only about 3 or 4 there. They only got about 30 yards penalty, but that's a big one there because you already had a 24-yard gain on the pass play. Throw 15 more onto that. Now Waverly threatening to drive and tie this thing up.
Just 23 seconds into the half, Waverly already at the Miami Trace 26 as there's a pass complete to Caleb Reisner, his first catch of the night for a small gain.
Nice ball there from Myers. Had a little pressure coming. He changed his arm angle. Get it out there just tied in.
Just take what the defense gives you. Myers did a great job of that. 2nd and 7, Kennison motions to his left. They swing it out to Kennison. Kennison trying to make something happen. Picks up a first down. Waverly threatening inside the red zone to the 14.
Down to the 14-yard line, 1st and 10, Tigers.
Yeah, and again, notice the balance. A lot of different people catching it, using the wide side of the field, utilize their speed.
Nelson and Kennison both lining up in the backfield behind Myers. 1st and 10. Nelson motions out. Myers drops back, going in the end zone, incomplete. Barch, the intended man.
Thought Cornell might have got a hand underneath there, a little hand on. I couldn't tell. Certainly disrupted the vision of the wide receiver.
This is where we love to have, obviously with only one camera, it kind of makes it hard to do, but we love to be like Fox or ESPN, have a replay to show us exactly what happened. 2nd and 10. Myers finds Nelson on the out route. Picks up about 5.
Nelson up over 10 catches tonight, Carson.
He's been the go-to man for the Tigers all night long, only a junior. 3rd and 5 at the 9. This is where we've seen make or break plays for Waverly. Myers, he's going to keep it himself. Myers gets some blocks, taken down at the 1-yard line. Gunnar Myers calls his own number. And Waverly knocking on the door. It's 1st and goal.
Yeah, it's a big play there, 3rd down, and you're obviously in 4-down territory probably at this point with it being a 14-7 game, but now here's where you got to stay
quickly
clean
too.
Yeah.
1st and goal at the 2 for the Tigers. Kennison motions to the right. Myers does it himself. Touchdown, Tigers. And an extra point away from tying this one up.
Outstanding job by the offensive line. Nice push. Myers just gets right back in behind his offensive line and pushes forward and give Waverly a lot of credit, not panicking down 14-0 on opening night. Now, as you said, they're able to kick one through. We're going to have a new ball game.
First rushing touchdown of the night for Gunnar Myers. The extra point is up, and it is through, and just like that, we are all tied here in Tigertown with 9:47 left in the 3rd quarter. Shane, a drive just north of 2 minutes ties it up for Waverly.
Yeah, I really like the balance. They continued to do some of the things that made them successful in the first half. utilizing about 3 or 4 different skill kids. And then Myers calling his own number north and south as he got down inside the red zone. And time for Miami Trace to answer. Like I said, Miami Trace dominated about the first quarter and a half of this game, had an opportunity to really stretch it out and take advantage, and they did not. You know, you and I talked at halftime. Miami Trace is one of those teams where you certainly wouldn't want to trail them late third quarter, early fourth quarter. They're going to grind you out. At the same time, I don't think Miami Trace really built a play from behind. So this becomes a really important drive for Miami Trace. They want to play out in front.
And they were able to move the ball on that last drive very efficiently, too. Able to mix up the run and the pass, setting up Myers to call his own number the last 2 plays, the latter of which results in a score tie in this game. Waverly boots it away. And LeBeau has trouble fielding it. He picks it up at the 10. Camden LeBeau now trying to scramble his way to the outside. Doesn't even make it to the 20. Trey Perry chases him down from the far side. Good coverage by the Tigers, and Miami Trace will have to set up south of their own 20. That was a good kick by Bryson Spangenberg as well. 2 for 2 on extra points, and he's had some great kickoffs for the Tigers as well.
Let's see if Miami Trace kind of goes back to and simplifies things here and tries to get their outstanding running back in behind Guthrie on that right side and then work off of that in their fakes.
Baron Phipps takes the snap. He hands it off. Julian Baker. Julian Baker wide open. No one near him. 82 yards, touchdown, Miami Trace.
Well, just like we talked about, simplify it over the right side. 82 yards, looks like you might have a cramp there. I don't think that's their 2025 celebration. But 82 yards later, he finds the orange paint. And talk about an answer, that didn't take long.
Talk about making a statement. First offensive play of the second half. 82 yards from your future Division I running back.
Well, just like that, you go up over 200 yards on the night, and you've only needed 14 carries to do it.
Jordan Thurman out for the extra point from the hold of Austin Brown. Kick is a line drive off the post. And no good. But not before an 82-yard run from the electric Julian Baker. Makes it 20-14. Miami Trace will quickly step aside. You're watching Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
Richer. Countless nights in the garage. 8 shiny new Pistons. 1 very happy 16-year-old granddaughter. And 2 years since starting cancer treatment at Ohio Health.
Julian Baker, an 82-yard touchdown run. We talked about Shane in the first half. You know, he was still having a great half, but a little quiet. We weren't saying his name as much. That's a way to enter the party. 82-yard touchdown to give your team the lead in the second half.
Well, when unofficially you're 13 carries for 129 at the half and you're quiet, that tells you a little bit of how talented he is. Now, do put a star next to that PAT there. In these one-possession games, that could be huge. That kills the momentum there a little bit at 2014. If you're Waverly, you feel like, okay, if we can go back and answer and we can be solid in the special team, it gives us a chance to play out in front for the first time tonight.
And especially in a game where these teams are essentially going blow for blow at this point. Yeah, it's no question. Special teams could be what it all comes down to at some point.
Waverly backs up that second line there on their return. They've been hitting right in front of their return men. They try to go there again.
Thorman with the short kick. Waverly will let this roll out of bounds, and that's going to be a penalty.
It's the right decision, but man, those always make you wonder. That football can certainly bounce some weird directions.
Yeah, and it took a while too for the ball to roll out of bounds. Obviously, those kickoffs are live. You know, Miami Trace gets there in time, they can pick it up and take it into the end zone. After the penalty, it'll be 1st and 10 at the Waverly 35.
Front seven for Miami Trace, conditioning really becomes a factor. All the short passes and the way Waverly gets them out to the wide side gets you running quite a bit.
Myers on the keeper. Doesn't quite get back to the line of scrimmage, taken down by multiple Panthers.
Yeah, Myers had success down in the red zone with that. Off of that formation earlier in the game, they threw it out to Nelson. That time they fake it and run, and Miami Trace line not fooled at all.
Still 2nd and 10 at the 35. Myers drops back, finds a riser outside. What a hit by Enix, and the ball comes out. Cooper Enix, are you kidding me? Miami Trace football. Cooper Enix lays the lumber and gives the Panthers the ball back.
Yeah, it's a big time hit, and then good sportsmanship from him after the plays. He goes over to check on him. Certainly a good hit. Now, Waverly's questioning if he had caught the ball and had made the football move upfield, I assume is what they're asking there. the Waverly crowd here down below us is giving their interpretation of he did not make a football move.
Feel like people know that all too well. That 2019 Fiesta Bowl still looming in the heads of a lot of people here in the state of Ohio. Call on the field stands Miami Trace football at the 27. Panthers looking to make it a 2-score game once again. Flags down before the snap. False start against Adam Guthrie. That'll back up Miami Trace 5 yards.
Yeah, that's a little bit what we're talking about. Here you are, your Miami Trace. You're already in the plus side, so you're 4-down territory. It's going to be really tough to stop your run game if you don't aid them in playing behind the chains. So that's a helpful 5 yards for Waverly. Let's see if they can win first down here.
Phipps hands it off to Weston Doss. Weston Doss bullying his way forward. Gets past the original line of scrimmage and then some. Weston Doss, one of the 2 men listed as a tight end. But the Panthers utilizing Weston Doss along with Cooper Enix in the run game tonight.
Well, I always love coaching adjustments. The coach in me loves to see how people come out of the half, and you can kind of almost tell by watching them play the first 5 minutes what they talked about. And you can tell Miami Trace just decided they're going to get really physical north and south and get after it.
2nd and 6. Phipps hands it off to Doss again, this time not able to get much but a flag. Appears to be.
Never did signal, did they?
Looked like there was a
There
holding. Yep. That's 2 penalties on Miami Trace this drive, Shane.
Yeah, and again, it's just about the only thing that's going to get in their way. Now it gives Waverly another opportunity.
Miami Trace last season in their first 7 games averaged 37 points a game. You have to wonder, if it weren't for the penalties, if it weren't for some of the miscues, it could be on their way there tonight. Phipps keeps it himself, gets a few yards. Once again, back to the original line of scrimmage and a little bit past.
Yeah, I mentioned the ball handling in the first half. That time, Baker obviously drawing a lot of eyeballs. You stick it in his gut there and then pull it out and keeps the defense honest. Phipps uses his speed around the corner. Now you're back to 3rd down. Again, you're in 4-down territory, so if you're Miami Trace, I would think they'll stay with the run game here.
3rd and 7 at the 24. This Waverly crowd making a lot of noise. Here's Baker again. Baker breaks free. Julian Baker to the end zone. Julian Baker, sensational. 2nd touchdown in as many drives here in the second half.
Yeah, just really starting to take the game over. The Miami Trace offensive line opening the hole and then Baker doing the rest. Push it up over 230 yards now and finds the end zone one more time and see if they're going to kick it or go for 2 to try to get back on that normal 7-point per pace.
It looks like they will try the 2-pointer. They've got to hurry to get it in. Just 10 seconds on the play clock. 5 on the play clock now for the 2-point conversion. Phipps takes the snap with 1 second left. They hand it off, and Baker has no trouble finding his way into the end zone. The touchdown and the 2-point conversion. And it's back to a 2-score game, 28-14, Miami Trace.
We talked about it right out of the half. Remember, Waverly goes down and scores, and when Miami Trace had come onto the field offensively, we talked about could they simplify it and get back to exactly who they want to be, which is to run in behind that big offensive line led by Guthrie and get Baker going. And then off of Baker, use just enough fakes, use Dawson Enix, use the quarterback showing it and keeping it a little bit, just enough to keep him honest. And that's going to be Miami Trace's identity throughout the year. And again, go back to the defense, give the credit to the big hit and the fumble and the recovery there to set up the short field.
Julian Baker coming off a season in which he had over 1,000 all-purpose yards, 12 touchdowns. Seems like he's picked up right where he left off.
Well, and again, what I love about him is he checks all the boxes. He has great vision. He's physical between the tackles. He can make you miss, and then when he gets out in the open field, you saw that on the 82-yarder. He was able to run away from the defense. So real impressive in terms of the overall versatility of that young man.
Julian Baker, the junior, with 10 Division I offers, some of those including some big-name schools like Indiana, Kentucky, Purdue, and NC State.
Yeah.
And he's shown why tonight.
Had a chance to watch him from floor level last year in basketball, and just a really impressive
player.
Yeah, real impressive young man athletically. So I could see why those schools are interested.
The Miami Trace boys basketball team played an undefeated regular season last year before falling in the district final to Steubenville. 28-14 Panthers. This Thorman out to boot it away again. Short kick. Perry lets it hop, struggles to pick it up. Near the 20, taken down with authority by Hayden Cornell. Miami Trace has been playing that shorter kick to their advantage, gives their gunners more time to get downfield and make plays.
Yeah, well said. I mean, there's certainly a hole right there around that in between the 20 and 30, and they've been able to place it pretty well, and the ball bouncing around. The one time they got it too close to the sideline, they were let it bounce out of bounds, but the other times they've really had trouble getting in any rhythm in terms of a clean catch. And it's hurt their field position.
Waverly once again trailing by 2 scores. They've had opportunities. They tied it in the first possession of the half. But Miami Trace gets up off the mat. 2 quick scores from Julian Baker gives their 2-possession lead right back. Here's a pass intended for Nelson. Incomplete, knocked away from Jansen Smith on the last-minute coverage.
Outstanding. Smith was the one with the goal line interception earlier. That time he times it up. Pretty well thrown ball by Myers, but just really, really well defended. Carson, I don't want to jump the gun on this, but remember what I said earlier about Miami Trace playing out in front by multiple possessions as you get late third quarter, fourth. It's kind of a little bit of a danger zone here for Waverly. Really need to be able to get points out of this drive.
2nd and 10 at the 24. They hand it off. Kennison gets nowhere. Met at the line of scrimmage and driven backwards by Weston Dawes.
Yeah, nothing there. I mean, Dawes just certainly fills it from the linebacker spot. And usually when a linebacker, Carson's running that free, that means someone up front's doing a pretty good job of keeping that offensive line occupied. So give Black, Stevens, and Morton some love there as well.
Chris Crabtree burning his first time out of the half with 6:05 remaining. If you're Waverly, what are you doing here on this 3rd down?
Well, I mean, obviously you're going to go to the air, and so far the 3rd downs, and when you've needed something, you went to Nelson. You've been able to move him around and try to get creative. Let's see if they put him in some sort of motion and try to get him out into space. They've also been able to use him as a decoy, and they've had some guys open in terms of the seam and some of the out routes, but this is a little bit more of a, what would you call that, about 3rd and 9. A lot of those shorter routes have been more the 4 or 5 yard variety, and Miami Trace has done a pretty good job of tackling.
Defensive backfield giving these Waverly receivers a bit of cushion here. 3rd and 9 at the 25. Myers throws incomplete. Enix got his hands on that, almost picked it off, and that brings up 4th down.
Yeah, that's what they use Nelson as a little bit of a decoy. He comes on the little eye candy there before the snap, and the defense did bite a little bit, and they had developed a little bit of a passing lane there, just unable to get on the same page on that little slant action, and it's going to force them to punt.
Tigers bring out the punt team on 4th and 9. As Jansen Smith and Austin Brown back to return for the Panthers. Jordan Poling boots it away for Waverly. And Brown lets it hop out of bounds near the 35-yard line. And that's where Miami Trace will take over once again.
So 5:54, Carson. Let's start to pay attention here to time of possession. Miami Trace possesses it up 2 touchdowns. You know, they've obviously been about 97, 98% run game tonight, so you assume that's where it's going to stay on the ground. These are the types of drives where even if you don't get points out of them, if Miami Trace is able to put 2, 3 first downs together, that clock all of a sudden starts to get closer and closer to the 4th quarter. So Waverly could really use a 3 and out here to get the ball back as quick as possible.
It'll be 1st and 10 at the 35 for the Panthers. They've ran the ball extremely well tonight. Panthers looking to continue that. Here's Baker again. Baker spins through traffic, gets pushed forward near the 1st down marker.
Number 0, Julian Baker with the carry.
Well, the offensive line's been good tonight, but that run had a whole lot of Baker in it there. They had him stopped around, 1 or 2 yard gain, and then he spins out of that one, and then kind of little shifty move, and all of a sudden here, 2nd and 1, Miami Trace just in a perfect scenario in terms of what they want to do to run the clock, get a 1st down, run the clock, get a 1st down.
And offensively, you're Miami Trace. You're well in control of how things go from here. As Weston Doss gets the carry up the middle. Doss has some room and takes advantage of it, taken down near the 35.
Number 44, Weston Dawes.
It's about a 22-yard gain there and well into Tiger territory. I noticed they brought the play clock all the way down to 4 or 5. Let's see if that starts to be a theme here too as they really start to milk that clock.
And you've noticed, in the first half, Miami Trace was pretty fast in getting the play in, getting to the line of scrimmage. We see here on this drive, they're taking their time a little bit.
That's that time and score we talked about in the first half. Very important, executed here.
First down, the handoff, Baker. Baker gets tripped up for a gain of 2.
Good play up front there. I didn't catch a number there, but someone fought off a block and was able to get low and trip him up. Great effort.
This Waverly defensive line has had its work cut out for them. This is a Miami Trace offensive line with 3 seniors and a junior, and 3 of them north of 6'4". 2nd and 8 at the 35. The handoff, Baker. Baker bounces outside, hurdles a man. Julian Baker jukes a man and finds his way into the end zone. 3rd touchdown of the night for Julian Baker.
35 yards.
But a flag down.
Yeah, 35-yard touchdown would have been a highlight play, but see if it's going to come on back.
Holding. Offense, number 17. 10-yard penalty. We take it down.
A holding penalty will go against Joe Reinschild of the Panthers. That waves off a 35-yard touchdown for Julian Baker. I watched Miami Trace last week in their scrimmage against Unioto, and that was a thing that really held them back. I know, obviously, you take scrimmages with a grain of salt, but those holding penalties up front really cost them a lot of big plays, and you have to wonder, obviously, you're sitting with a 2-score lead, but that's still stuff you just don't want to see happen from the guys up front.
Well, what's funny about penalty yardage, too, it goes down as a 10-yard penalty, but, I mean, it's basically, a 35-yard touchdown is the alternative. So, it's just all of a sudden now about 50 yards in penalties for Miami Trace.
Now Phipps will keep it himself on the option. Goes down after a gain of about 3.
Number 42-yard line.
3rd and long here, and again, I don't know if I'm Miami Trace if I put the ball in the air here or not.
We've been letting that clock run as much as they can this drive. Third down and 15. Baker lined up directly behind Phipps. Phipps pitches it to Baker. Baker gets to the outside, tries to hurdle a man, but doesn't get past him, and that brings up 4th down.
Yeah, good tackle there.
Sebastian Smith able to make the stop after Baker gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and Miami Trace will bring out the punt team.
Yeah, Smith comes up from his safety position, make a big play there, and going to give them a chance to most likely get the ball back here. They're going to line up to go for it. See if they shift in. Yep.
Shift into punt formation. Briar Barch drops back. High snap. And a good boot by Phipps. Goes out of bounds. We'll see where they spot it. Looked good when it came off his foot.
He's still walking.
I'll spot it at the Waverly 26-yard line.
Well, overall, you got to call that a win for Waverly. I mean, you think you're getting ready to go down 35-14. The flag comes out. Then you get your stop and you get the ball back. It cost you about, 3.5 minutes. But nonetheless, at least it's still a 2-score game. And if you're Waverly, you feel like you dodged a serious bullet there.
So Waverly once again looking to dig out of a 2-score hole. Sawyer Myers drops back, finds Nelson on the outside. Not much after the initial catch. Austin Brown on the stop. Call it 2nd and 7.
Yeah, that throw shows off a little bit of his arm talent. I mean, that's a tough throw. He comes from a little side arm and slings that thing way out there to the far side.
Obviously a lot of game left and down 2 scores, but you have to like what you've been seeing so far out of Gunnar Myers' first start at quarterback.
I agree.
Myers will keep it himself. Myers going nowhere. Stopped in the backfield by multiple Panthers.
Number 8, Gunnar Myers on the keeper.
Call it a loss of 3, 3rd down and 10.
3rd and 10 for the Tigers.
Yeah, just really good penetration there from Miami Trace, and kind of read the play real well, just never developed, and now here they are again in that 3rd and long.
Now 3rd and 10 at the 26, under 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Kennison motions out to his left. Myers swings it out to Kennison. Kennison's got some room to work. Kennison gets taken down just shy of the marker. Close fist from the official signal, 4th down, but not by much. 4th and 1. And at this stage of the game, I don't blame Chris Crabtree one bit if he leaves his offense out there.
Yeah, it's really, really a tough call because you're running out of possessions, and Miami Trace have been really sure tacklers for most of the evening. That time, a missed tackle might cost them here.
Nelson in motion, 4th and 1. Myers on the keeper, and Miami Trace stuffs him short. This Miami Trace defensive line with a couple huge plays on this drive. And it gives the ball back to the Panthers in enemy territory.
Yeah, the quarterback calling the number there in between the tackles was really successful earlier in the game. They had some short yardage spots. They had red zone opportunities. But here in the second half, you can tell the adjustment's been made. And again, the difference in the 3rd quarter, the way I see it, Carson, compared to when Waverly got into rhythm in the 2nd quarter, I think they've lost their balance a little bit. They lost a little bit of the run game from some of their running backs, and they become a little bit more predictable.
Kind of wonder if that's where the inexperience in Waverly's offense comes from. I mean, you look at their offensive line, you've only got one returning starter from last season in Garrett Rosenberger. Sawyer Myers was supposed to be Waverly's starting tight end, but due to some injuries, moved to right tackle. As Julian Baker picks up a couple yards on that carry out of bounds.
Number 0, Julian Baker on the carry.
Might have a Miami Trace player down over there on their sideline. I can't see the number.
Looks like
here.
it's Jansen Smith down on his sideline. And he will get checked out. No stoppage in play, or there will be stoppage in play. As we'll take a look at Jansen Smith. Some further coverage coming up here on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health. As we mentioned, tomorrow, Shane, you and Dewey will be over at Adena to watch South Webster take on the Warriors in volleyball action.
The JV game at 11, so I'm guessing we'll be right around the 12-15 mark or so. But, yeah, I'm excited to see that one.
Two of the premier programs in Southeast Ohio going at it in some early season non-league action. And then tomorrow night, John Bruce and I will be bringing you coverage from Jackson as the Ironmen open up their season against Little Miami, making their way out of the Eastern Cincinnati Conference.
And then we could throw on there Tuesday night. Dewey and I will be back to Adena. Uniota Adena gets SVC play. Uniota all of a sudden this week with a 5-set win over South Webster and a 5-set win over Chillicothe.
It's a great time to be a high school sports fan in the Southeast District.
All you got to do is get locked into Sosa, and we'll take you through it.
We'll have John Bruce and Jeff Miller with the Coaches Call-In show tonight at 9:45. Be sure to tune into that.
John and I have the weekend Sosa overtime as well, so a lot of coverage of our local athletes.
2nd and 9 at the 34. And the penalty marker down on the near side. It's going to be encroachment against Waverly.
Encroachment. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Again, Waverly has not been heavily penalized for most of the night. For opening night, I feel like both teams have been pretty solid in that area. Miami Trace had just a few bigger penalties to add up on them.
Penalty makes it 2nd down and 4. Phipps hands it off. It's Baker again. Julian Baker getting to the outside. Julian Baker tried to break a tackle and wrestled down on the far side. Jamie Blackwell making the tackle, but not before Baker picks up a 1st down.
Get your split the pot tickets out. Split the pot. The winning tickets will be an orange ticket.
It has just been feed 0 all night long for Miami Trace.
Holding your other tickets just in case no one claims it.
And they're trying to get the clock winding there, and that, if you're Miami Trace, you'd like to run this a little bit down, run the football one more time. That way you wouldn't have to snap it again. So you just start playing some of those time games. Shorten the game if you're up 14.
They hand it off. It's Enix. Cooper Enix working his way around a block. Good gain on the play before being taken down just before the 10. And with 18 left on the game clock, Miami Trace perfectly content to run this down to the end of the 3rd quarter.
Enix up over 75 yards now. Nice offensive game to go with. He's made one of the 2 big defensive plays for Miami Trace tonight with the big hit and calls the fumble.
End of the 3rd quarter from Waverly. Julian Baker has his name written all over this one. 2 big touchdowns on the ground to give Miami Trace a 2-score lead. 1 quarter left to play here in Waverly. You're watching Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
Mark. 6 months of training. 8 miles to go. A 3-way tie for almost last place.
Look good in these shorts, right?
And 3 years since he and his team at Ohio Health left cancer in the dust.
Three quarters down and 1 to go here from Rediger Field in Waverly. It's Miami Trace up 28-14 on the Waverly Tigers. Carson Francis and Shane Combs with you tonight. Hang on, Sloopy, courtesy of the Waverly Marching Tigers. Miami Trace sets up shop at the Waverly 13. A score would be the icing on the cake. Here's Julian Baker. Julian Baker making it look easy. Touchdown, Panthers. 3rd rushing touchdown of the night for the junior. And the Panthers take a commanding 3-score lead.
Yeah, great job up front, offensive line. That was a huge hole, really starting to wear down the Waverly front. And it's been all Baker here in the 2nd half as they look to break things open.
Thorman out to attempt the PAT. Kick is up, away, and it splits the uprights. 5 for 5 is the Miami Trace kicker on his extra points. I take that back. He missed the one that was off the upright. They made up for it with the 2-point conversion. And they made up for it, so it checks out.
No, but he has been solid. And that'll be a big factor throughout the year, especially when you get in those closer games. You can't give those points away.
Miami Trace entering its 9th season as a member of the Frontier Athletic Conference. They were a founder of the league when it was formed back in 2017, along with Chillicothe, Hillsborough, McLean, and Washington Courthouse, the remaining members of the South Central Ohio League. They added Jackson to make it an even 6.
Carson, the one thing that jumps out at me is obviously Baker's on his way to almost a 300-yard night, but, you get about 35 yards rushing from your quarterback, and then your secondary runners, Enix and Dawes, giving you about 78 and about 58, and it's just kind of a pick your poison. I think as the year goes on, teams are going to have to decide to make those other guys beat them a little bit, maybe sell out on Baker a little bit more there.
Obviously, the one team on Miami Trace's schedule that sticks out from the rest, Week 9 against the Jackson Ironmen. That game at Miami Trace. But even early on in the season, that's a game circled on both teams' calendars for sure. Thorman out to boot it away. Another short kick fielded by Perry inside the 20. Trey Perry working his way outside, gets tripped up and taken down on the coverage. Hayden Brown with the tackle.
Better job of Perry to come get it on the run there a little bit, but they had to return right as he went across. Pretty good discipline there from Miami Trace not to get sucked in. Sometimes that ball goes opposite of you. You get sucked in on your coverage. Miami Trace did a good job running the lanes there and stringing it out. And again, Waverly's really struggled to win some field position tonight.
And some of the things that Waverly did so well at the end of the first half, we've seen Miami Trace on defense take a lot of those things away. 1st and 10 at the 25. Myers taking a shot downfield, almost intercepted as Austin Brown had that read perfectly. Good coverage by Brown, putting Briar Barch in a position to where he had to be the defensive back and knock that ball down.
Well called on your part there, Carson, because that's exactly what he did. It was outstanding coverage. Ball was probably going to have a chance to be picked off, and the receiver did a nice job of breaking it up.
You're at the point now, if you're Waverly, you can't necessarily take your time with the ball either. Myers gives it up. That carry is going almost nowhere. Justin Kennison taken down after a minimal gain. Weston Doss, one of the first ones there.
I thought that was some of the balance that they were getting earlier. The problem is now you fall behind multiple scores into the fourth quarter, and you just don't have a lot of time to stay balanced. It's going to have to come with some big plays in the passing game, I think.
Trips to the left side of Gunnar Myers, 3rd down and 8 at the 27. Myers drops back. He's looking downfield. Pass is complete to Barch, but stopped just short of the 1st down marker.
I think the official on the far side's got him. Yeah, I think they gave him that spot.
They will give him the spot from our angle up top of the press box. It was close. The officials down on the field will give it to him. Gabriel Carson making the tackle for Miami Trace. Now 1st and 10 at the 35. Myers gives it up to Nelson. Nelson had to get around his own blocker, and he stopped just past the line of scrimmage. If you're Waverly, like I said, it's not like you have to score this very next play, but you got to score and score quick. Down 3 scores, time running out.
Thought Miami Trace did a good job of really winning that edge on that last run from Nelson.
2nd down, Myers looking downfield. He's going downfield. Perry Almost had him, but threw his hands incomplete. Perry caught that, stayed on his feet. Probably 6 points for the orange and black.
Yeah, great job offensive line. Not a lot of pressure from Miami Trace. Had all day to let the route develop. And we talk about the new pitch count rule in high school baseball. Gunnar Meyer's going to have to ice it down tonight. I'm trying to look here at my stat sheet. It's getting darker up here, but I think that's almost 40 pass attempts.
He'll try another pass on 3rd and 10. This one intended for Barch. A little wide and incomplete. And Chris Crabtree sending out his punt team. You have to wonder if that's the unofficial white flag here for the Tigers.
Well, it's tough. You know, you want to try to put yourself in a situation to be as competitive as possible, but you also get into a point where you just don't want to set your kids up to continue to fail there. It's a tough call, though, because like you said, it down 21, the chances of even getting 3 more possessions, probably not likely.
Low snap. They get the punt away. It rolls around, and Miami Trace will let it bounce. Takes a good Waverly roll inside the 15, down at the 11.
Well, any other time I would say, you know, you got to field that ball, and the field position is so important. Here's one time I'll disagree with that. That was kind of a tough bounce. It's one of the last thing you want to do is a turnover there, right? Miami Trace would gladly give up 20 more yards of field position to possess the ball here with 9:33 remaining in a 21-point cushion.
Give Jordan Poling, the punter, credit for that one. Pins Miami Trace back at the 11-yard line. It's been a run-heavy night for this Miami Trace offense. And can't really argue with what they've been doing because it's worked out very well for them.
Well, and really they've done it start to finish. If you remember, the only, what would you say, 6-7 minutes of the second quarter there where it got sloppy, they kind of did a little bit of it to themselves.
Some adjustments made at halftime, and just like that, you blink and Miami Trace is in the lead by 3 scores. Looking to cruise to the finish line here as Julian Baker gets it again. That's someone who's not satisfied with what's been going on tonight. Baker into the open field. Baker breaks a tackle. Julian sideline, and he will score once more.
89 yards.
4th rushing touchdown of the night for Julian Baker. What a night it's been.
Well, it's a night where the stat guy has to start getting out the calculator just to keep up with Baker and the great running attack of Miami Trace. And it's just, it's been impressive, and it really showcases an identity in week 1 that they're really going to be able to go to throughout the year. And that's that ground game. Going to put a lot of pressure on defenses throughout the 2025 football season.
Touchdown carries of 82 and 89 yards tonight for Julian Baker. The PAT is good, 42-14. Your score with 9:16 remaining here in Waverly. We'll quickly step aside. You're watching Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by Willie and Son Trucking. Willie and Son Trucking has been a proud supporter of local student athletes, coaches, and athletic programs throughout its history. Be sure to look out for the Shack Athlete of the Week presented by Willie and Son Trucking each week at sosaohio.com.
42-14 in favor of the Miami Trace Panthers. It has been the Julian Baker show in the second half tonight. 4 rushing touchdowns for Miami Trace.
Yeah, it's been a variety. That time off the right side, and I've been impressed with his ability to take the speed to another level. He's been able to run away from the defense on 2 occasions. The one down the Miami Trace sideline, that one down the Waverly sideline, and unofficially here. I know he's well up over 350. I'll do my best to try to get some sort of accurate count, but it'll be fun to see what the official count is from the Miami Trace stat sheet after the game.
What a way to start the season for Julian Baker and the Miami Trace offense. High short kick from Miami Trace, fielded by Perry on the run. Perry, ball comes out. It's taken down near the 35. There's a scramble for it. And they'll say it will stick with Waverly.
And just little things, there's a better adjustment. You know, they've kind of filled up that hole, and they come up and filled it on the run, and then you get it out to the 35. That's a much better starting spot. May not matter tonight, but again, in week one, you're just constantly trying to clean some things up. And field position is obviously a really, really big thing, and Miami Trace has really won that battle tonight.
Yeah, anytime, too, you can make adjustments in-game that are going to get you ready for the rest of your season. Obviously, tonight, barring a miracle, probably out of reach for Waverly, but, you know, the starters still in right now. There's still time on the clock. You want to get as much out of this one as you can and maybe take something into next week. As flag down on that carry by Justin Kennison.
Holding, 73 offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Brock Burdette committing the penalty for the Tigers there. Make it 1st and 20. Waverly next week will travel to Zane Trace, who we talked about during the break was making quick work of Logan Elm.
Well, again, I know Logan Elm got hit hard by graduation last year, but again, that Zane Trace team, you know, over the last 3-4 years have really been able to compete well in the trenches. They have some nice athletes back, and that'll be another test for the Tigers.
They will travel to Unioto the following week before returning home and starting SOC 2 play against the Valley Indians.
You know, the one interesting thing, now when you fall behind, the stat sheet gets skewed even more, so that's where you don't want to turn into an analytical nerd and get too much into it. But even in the first half, Waverly was a little bit more 70-30 pass run, and that'll be something they want to look at as they move forward. Obviously, they're going to be a team that airs it out a little bit, but can they find a little bit better balance?
2nd and 20, Myers dumps off a screen pass.
Screen pass to number 5, Justin Kennison.
To Justin Kennison.
33-yard line.
Picks up about 8. It'll be 3rd down and 12 for the Tigers. This Miami Trace defense has had a pretty solid night as well. Especially here in the second half. Waverly showed some life towards the end of the first. Panthers have shut the door here in the second half. Pass intended for Barch, through his hands and out of bounds.
Yeah, they really have been good. I mean, statistically, they're going to end up giving up some yards because, again, their opponent's going to threaten to throw it almost 45 to 50 times before this thing's over. But they've caused, 3 big turnovers. They had the one down on the goal line, and then they had the fumble over on the sideline, and then the big hit in recovery here. So, yeah, they've been able to really come up with some big plays, and 3 turnovers and 42 points on the other side. It's a good combination. That's a winning formula on most nights.
Pulling back to punt once again for the Tigers. It's a good punt from Poling. Fielded by Noah Weissong, and he doesn't get far on the return. Jamie Blackwell, one of the gunners that got down there to make the stop.
Yeah, nice play by Blackwell. Good open field tackle there.
Miami Trace offense takes the field. Some of their backups in the game. One that does not come off the field, though, is quarterback Barron Phipps. Miami Trace 8 minutes away from a 1-0 start to the season. They will head home to face the Wilmington Hurricane in week 2 of the home opener.
Yeah, I had a chance to see Wilmington last year. They're an athletic bunch. Nice team.
Phipps hands it off. Here's Camden LeBeau. LeBeau with a nice carry. And Waverly saying they have the football. I think the ball came out. They are signaling Waverly football.
Well,
couldn't see what happened, but either LeBeau got stripped or he just lost the football. Either way, goes back to Waverly.
yeah, it looked like a nice gain over the left side, and then, Waverly came up signaling. The official immediately agreed with him, so there had to be a clean takeaway, and give Waverly defense credit, not quitting on it, continuing to compete all the way to the end.
And I'm sure if you're Coach Crabtree, that's what you want to see at this point. Down 28, less than 8 minutes left. You just want to see your guys go out there and fight, give it all they have, play for the name on your jersey. Myers takes a snap, fakes the give, looking downfield. He's got Barch one-on-one, overthrows him, incomplete.
Yeah, and I'd go on the other side of that too in the film room, even at 42-14. If you're Miami Trace, you don't love the turnover, right? You're going to go and you're going to talk to your young back about putting the ball away and making sure you secure it.
Yeah, when I played, I had coaches in the film room. Doesn't matter what the score was when a play happened. It felt like every play was 0-0. And that's sometimes the mindset you got to have. Here's a screen pass out to Hez Nelson. Nelson tried to split 2 defenders before being taken down. Gabriel Carson near the near sideline. It'll be 3rd and 5.
I don't know what the Waverly record is for receptions, but that young man knocking on the door. I've got him up around 12 or 13 catches. I'll have to get a better look at my stat sheet after. It's getting pretty dark on us up top here at Waverly.
Sure, we can have someone help us figure that out. 3rd and 5 at the 34. Waverly trying to salvage some points here on this drive. Swing pass out to Kennison. Kennison got some room on the sideline before being taken down at the 20.
Pass complete by Justin Kennison.
Good catch and run by Kennison puts Waverly in the red zone.
Yeah, right around 14 yards. And again, they've had some success out there in the flat. For the most part, Miami Trace has tackled pretty well. That time they get a little space.
Jacob Reinshield on the open field tackle. New set of downs for the Tigers.
Puts Myers up over 200 yards. He's coming up on his next pass attempt. I think unofficially it'll be his 48th.
Here's a handoff to Kennison. Kennison tried to make a man miss, but picks up a first down. Waverly knocking on the door.
Down to the 6-yard line. 1st and goal, Tigers.
Couple nice plays from Kennison. 1st and goal at the 6. They go back to Kennison once again. Picks up about 3 on the carry.
Well, I think that's going to be another factor, too, as you move forward. Kennison had right around 30 yards on 8 carries in the first half. Now he's up around 50 yards on just 12 carries. So if you can just get, don't you feel like if you could just get 60, 70 yards out of your running back with the way they can throw it around, that would just add a little bit more of that balance that I'm looking for.
Second and goal at the 3. They hand it off. Kennison into the end zone for a Waverly touchdown with under 6 to go. Kennison's first touchdown of the night.
Yeah, basically just hit the repeat button on about 3 straight play calls, running right up the middle. Got about 15, then got about 2 or 3, and then got 2 or 3 more there on the touchdown. And Waverly continues to fight. You know, still 5:51. Let's see if they'll go to an onside kick here.
Out for the extra point is Bryson Spangenberg, and he sinks that one. 3-yard rushing touchdown from Justin Kennison. His first touchdown of the night. Miami Trace still well in control with 5:51 to play. You're watching Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
Rathkamp Financial is a comprehensive financial services firm committed to helping our clients improve their long-term financial success. Our customized programs seek to grow, protect, and conserve our clients' wealth by delivering personalized service and expertise. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member, FINRA SIPC. Please call us at 740-775-1040 to schedule a consultation.
Back here in Waverly, 5:51 to play. Miami Trace in control, 42-21 on the Waverly Tigers. A 3-yard rush from Justin Kennison cuts into the deficit just a little bit for Waverly. We'll see what they do here on the kickoff.
Carson, I know Waverly told me in some pregame prep that on the offensive line, they had Evan Martin that was missing tonight, and then over on the defensive side, Jack Holsinger, who I had one Waverly person who I consider a pretty good football person tell me he might be their best defensive player. So, you know, again, you get a little stronger in the weeks to come. You develop a little bit more depth through all this. I still think Waverly's best football is in front of them.
Spangenberg boots this one away. And Cornell fields it inside the 10. And he wisely goes down just beyond the 20-yard line.
Number 2, Hayden Cornell on the return.
Yeah, high IQ play, it's just not worth it. You go up into contact, anything can happen, ball can pop out. Number one thing you want to do, just possess it. You're not in any type of return because you're kind of up in the onside prevent type of look. And so heads up play there by the return man.
Ball spot at the 22-yard.
Miami Trace takes over at the 22-yard line. We get our first look at the backup quarterback, Gage Henry, for Miami Trace.
Valuable Friday night reps for some of these guys. Again, you just so important to develop depth. Miami Trace hit by the injury big time the final 3 or 4 weeks last year, and it really caught up with them.
Here's a carry by Gabriel Carson.
Got a flag on the far side.
Number 5, Gabriel Carson on the carry.
Sideline, I think.
Flag on the far side.
Warning, Miami Trace.
No yardage on that penalty, just a sideline warning. Gain of 5 for Gabriel Carson.
Ball spot at the 27-yard line.
Head coach Jerry Williams took over at Miami Trace in 2017. There's a carry for a loss. That is Landon LeBeau on the carry.
Landon LeBeau on the carry.
Coach Williams, head coach of the Panthers since 2017, and even 4-4 in season openers. He'll get over 500 in that category tonight.
Big win for Miami Trace tonight. Coming on the road. It's where you want to see your clock in the background and run that thing down as far as you can.
3rd and 8. They pitch it out to Carson. Gabriel Carson tripped up before he could get any further yardage. And that'll bring up 4th down.
This will run it down right around 4:15 on the next snap if they choose to take it down that far.
Ball at the 27-yard line. 4th and 5.
I've mentioned multiple times these two schools have played each other in week 1 every year since 2021. The last 3 games have been decided by combined 9 points.
Yeah, I think it's a great contract for both programs. I really do. I think that he's going to pull it back, and I assume that's just always a
coming
read.
Back.
Yeah, you got
It
something.
looked like, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but the snap bounced off the ankle of Gabriel Carson. Don't know if it was intended to go to him on the snap.
Offense, 5 in the backfield.
Yeah, going back to what we were talking about, I think it's a great contract. It's a great opener for both schools. 2 really nice facilities, 2 good fan bases. It's going to be nice gate back and forth. It's going to have nice playoff points available, but at the same time, with the extension of the playoffs over the last couple of years, it's not like a must-win for both teams. So, yeah, I think both teams benefit from this game in week 1.
As Henry boots it away. And Waverly will let it bounce. And it will be downed at the 32-yard line. That is Jaden Armstrong of Miami Trace downing the punt. Shane, speaking of the playoffs, interestingly enough this year we talked about expansion, but you and John talked about it on overtime. It's actually been shrunk by a few teams. It'll be 12 teams getting into the playoffs in each region starting this year.
Yeah, going to go to the bye. A lot of people in favor of that. I've heard some different people feel like that some of the 13, 14, 15, 16 seeds were offering some non-competitive matchups, in many cases blowouts, many cases, really lopsided type of matchups in the trenches and so forth, size-wise. Now, the argument against that is you did have, an upset here and there, and some of those teams advanced, but nonetheless, I think 12's fair. You get that bye and give those teams a chance to move on. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm never afraid of the change. Go ahead and try it out. See what it looks like. If you don't like it, you can change it again. But I think it's a pretty good move.
Backup quarterback Davion McBride enters the game for Waverly as a handoff goes nowhere, actually backwards. It's a carry from Jaden Poling.
This is one of those situations where it's nice to get some guys in, but at this point the game's been decided. You want to stay injury-free and try to get that clock moving. It's nice when you get both teams kind of in that same mindset, and the officials kind of understand it as well, as the clock's 3:12 and ticking.
McBride in the shotgun, takes a snap. He's going to keep it himself, but he has trouble getting around the outside. Gabriel Carson in the backfield and a TFL.
Number 9, Davion McBride with carry.
Keep in mind, got the call-in show later tonight there with John and Jeff.
Be sure to tune into that one. Here a couple coaches from around the area.
Thought John told us, 9:45 they were going to try their best to go on after us.
2:30 remaining now. McBride in the shotgun. McBride going to keep it himself. He breaks a tackle. Here's Davion McBride. Look at the backup QB into enemy territory. Davion McBride, big carry.
Yeah, athletic move there. He kind of avoids the rush, gets out in the open field, and good-looking run.
John and I last winter saw McBride on the basketball court for the Waverly Tigers. Saw a little bit of action at the end of the varsity game. Came in, hit a big three-pointer late, but an all-around athlete, Davion McBride. .145 remaining. 1st and 10 at the 47. McBride looking downfield, doesn't have anything. McBride's going to do it with his legs again. McBride not afraid of the contact. Ball comes out. They're going to say McBride was down first.
Down to the 39-yard line.
Again, that call of him being down will keep the clock moving, which helps us continue to get this one in the book, but nonetheless, Waverly offense still competing.
Post-game show.
One minute even remaining here in Waverly. Here's a handoff to Poling. Poling lost the ball. And a scramble for it.
Fumble on the play.
It looks like Miami Trace came up with it, and that's what the officials signal. And that is the cherry on top of a dominant victory for the Miami Trace Panthers. An explosive second half. And the fumble recovery puts the bow on the present here in week one.
Well, and again, you give Miami Trace a lot of credit there mid-third quarter. Waverly comes out of the locker room and drives and ties this thing up, and then Miami Trace just went back to the bread and butter, right? They got off the right side there behind Guthrie, got Baker going, and, 300 yards later, Miami Trace is up 42-21.
Credit Landon LeBeau on the fumble recovery. 52 seconds left. All Miami Trace has to do is bleed this out. Here's Gabriel Carson on the outside. Gabriel Carson makes a man miss. Carson down the sideline. Touchdown, Panthers.
Had a flag come out really, really late back here.
It's coming back.
Cool moment for that young man nonetheless, but again, that flag will bring that one back. But
Gabriel Carson, only a sophomore. I'm sure he'll have another chance to have a moment like that later on. We've said it all night long, but can't get over the ground game for Miami Trace and the second half performance from Julian Baker.
The biggest thing I'll say is this for Miami Trace is in a situation where they fall behind and they have to play from behind, that'll be something that tests them a little bit. It'll be interesting to see here in the next 2 to 3 weeks, can they develop something in the pass game off all that run, a little bit of a play fake, because they're obviously going to start to get people to crowd the box more and more and more. That'll be a big question mark for Miami Trace moving forward.
And even 40 seconds remain as Gage Henry takes a knee. And that will just about do it. Miami Trace will let the remainder of time run out. The Panthers grind their way to a week one victory here in Waverly. 42-21 your final from Rediger Field. What a night for the men lined up in Miami Trace's backfield. Julian Baker, 4 touchdowns in the second half, along with 2 from Cooper Enix in the first half, all leading to a 42-21 victory for the Miami Trace Panthers as they start week one in the win column for the second time in 3 years.
Yeah, really impressive all the way around. Defense did a nice job, opportunistic, causing some turnovers. I thought special teams and defense combined to give the offense some outstanding field position throughout. Got a little sloppy there in the second quarter, and Waverly was able to take some advantage and get back into it. Give Waverly a lot of credit the way they started the second half. And then as you get into mid-third quarter, I just thought Baker and that offensive line took the game over, and it was all Miami Trace from that point.
We'll take a quick break and come back, give our final thoughts, and wrap this one up from Waverly. The Miami Trace Panthers earn a 42-21 victory over Waverly here in week one. You're watching Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by Willie and Son Trucking. Willie and Son Trucking has been a proud supporter of local student athletes, coaches, and athletic programs throughout its history. Be sure to look out for the Shack Athlete of the Week presented by Willie & Son Trucking each week at sosaohio.com.
Back here from Rediger Field in downtown Waverly, your final score. Miami Trace 42, Waverly 21. The Panthers are 1-0 to start the season, highlighted by an outstanding ground game paced in the second half by junior Julian Baker. 4 trips to the end zone for Baker.
Yeah, let's look at the stat sheet here. These are all unofficial, and it'll be interesting to get their exact numbers. First on the Waverly side, they obviously went to the air early and often. They ended up throwing it right around 47 times, over 200 yards. Myers did have a touchdown pass to Nelson. He had a touchdown run as well. He was picked off twice. Nelson, again, I have unofficially 13 catches over 100 yards. Again, 13 catches on the night. That's outstanding. They do a good job of moving him around, orbit motion, different traditional motion, use him out in the flat. So he's someone that they're really going to be able to go to throughout the year. Obviously, you get over to the Miami Trace side. Everything done in behind that offensive line. I thought some of the complimentary running of Dawes at 58 yards, Enix at 78 yards. The quarterback gives you 35 more. But then, obviously, the story of the night was Baker. I had him unofficially right up around the 22 carries, and he's going to be pushing up over 360 on my stat sheet. But again, we'll have to see what they officially have him for, because that's a completely unofficial number. But as you said, we obviously know the touchdown runs, 89, and you know, there's a 24 and 82. And I mean, just throughout the night, he was terrific. He showed physicality between the tackles. He showed the ability to make people miss on the edge, and then he showed the ability to hit the home run when he got in the open field.
And for Waverly, they fall to 0-1 on the season. Some things were promising there, but obviously week one, nothing's going to be perfect, but a lot to work on for Waverly in the coming weeks.
Biggest positive for Waverly, if I'm looking at it from a Waverly side, was how they responded to being down 14-0. You know, they come back, they get it to 14-7. They come out after the half, they get it back to 14. But then at the end of the night, they just got beat in the trenches, right? They just got beat up front by that Miami Trace line. Look, Baker's incredible, but anytime you start posting over 400 yards, almost 500 yards of rushing offense as a team, somebody up front's doing a job. You know, I mean, there was a few holes that probably even you in your older years now could run through, and that has to be hats off to Miami Trace. But again, Waverly, I like the way they responded. I see some things. I would like to see them just find just a little bit more balance. Again, they have a lot of talent in the passing game. I'd like to see them find a little bit more balance in the run game, and I think that offense is going to be really, really good the second half of the season.
And going forward into the rest of their non-league, getting ready for FAC play, how do you build off this if you're Miami Trace?
Well, I think, again, I like the way they responded. They had a team come back at them, and then at 14-14, they go and they take the game over. I think you go to that second quarter, I think you have to build off of, you know, as a coach, you always look for things in the film room you can pick at. I think you got to go back to the second quarter, and you need to really highlight for your guys, look at how we are killing drives. We are going to be successful in our run game when we stay ahead of the sticks, we avoid the false starts, we avoid the holding penalties, and we certainly avoid putting the ball on the ground. So I think there's some learning moments in that second quarter that they can go back to and try to clean up.
Waverly will try to bounce back next week as they travel to Zane Trace, a 48-0 winner over Logan Elm tonight.
That'll be a good one.
Returning home for their home opener, where they will face the Wilmington Hurricane. Miami Trace will square off with Wilmington, Logan Elm, and then travel to Batavia and Western Brown before starting FAC play week 6, a showdown with Chillicothe.
Yeah, and I did not hear a second half score there, Chillicothe, but I mean, you and I were both impressed by that first half score. Chillicothe only down 6-0 to Bloom Carroll.
Bloom Carroll was up 20-0 at one point.
Okay, so they did pull away a little bit, but again, if you go back to a year ago, and I know Bloom Carroll graduated, so you go back to a year ago, that's a huge improvement for Chillicothe. Chillicothe plays that really tough schedule with Bloom Carroll London right out of the gate, and then, you know, we'll kind of see where they're at, but that'll be an interesting FAC this year for sure.
Jackson, Miami Trace, obviously the two front runners
Yes.
in the FAC. You've got teams like Chillicothe who are on the up and coming. Washington Courthouse always in the mix of things. Washington Courthouse actually tied with Miami Trace for second in the league last year. Hillsborough and McLean, never teams that you want to take easily. But the FAC should be, as you said, really fun to watch in 2025.
No, I agree. I thought I saw a score earlier, too, where Hillsborough is having a decent game tonight against a pretty good Western Brown team. So, yeah, all of it's going to be fun. There's some really, really athletic matchups. It's awesome to watch teams from week 1 to week 4, and then week 4 to week 7. They just continue to get better, but then injuries, unfortunately, play a factor, too, and depth can really be what separates some teams.
Once again, we do want to remind you of some extra coverage we have this weekend. Obviously, the Haynes Healthcare Coaches Call-In Show presented by Edward Jones should be getting underway any minute, if not already. John Bruce and Jeff Miller up in studio in Chillicothe for that one. Tomorrow, you and Dewey will be over in Frankfort for Adina and South Webster in volleyball action, two of the premier programs in Southeast Ohio competing. And then tomorrow night, John Bruce and I will have the call from Alumni Stadium in Jackson as the Ironmen play host to the Little Miami Panthers to cap off week 1 action. And then as far as football goes, Shane, you and I will be in Athens next Friday night as the Bulldogs play host to Paint Valley, which should be an interesting non-league matchup for sure.
Should be really fun. Again, we'll have the SVC Volleyball League getting underway Tuesday night. We'll have Uniode over to Dina, and then, yeah, looking forward to making the trip down to your stomping grounds now, right, down in Athens. I know I've had a lot of family throughout my life in Albany, so might be able to stop by, see the family there, and then go down to Athens and see the Bearcats and the Bulldogs.
One final time from Rediger Field in Waverly. Miami Trace with an exclamation point win in week 1, 42-21. Your final score, Miami Trace over the Waverly Tigers. From Kenneth Hay, our cameraman, and Shane Combs, I am Carson Francis. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's presentation of Ohio High School football on Southern Ohio Sports Authority, presented by Ohio Health.